Well, Mother Nature has cooperated. The rainy skies have pushed away for the time being, and we are ready for baseball. Welcome back to Dolphin Stadium in South Florida. Alongside Al Leiter and Harold Reynolds, Matt Vasgersian. It's elimination-style World Baseball Classic competition tonight. The winner of this one moves on in the tournament and plays Venezuela tomorrow to determine the pool winner. And the loser will pack up and head back to the drawing tables, if you will, for the next World Baseball Classic competition 4 years down the road. Let's get right to Puerto Rico's lineup as offered by Jose Akendo. Mike Aviles will lead off at shortstop. Pudge Rodriguez DHing in the 2-hole. Beltran, Delgado, and Rios 3 through 5. Soto, Gonzalez, Boca Chica, and Lopez round things out for Puerto Rico. A team handed their first World Baseball Classic loss in 2009 yesterday. The defense for the U.S., if you're going to try a ground ball, try somebody other than Wright and Jeter. They have combined for 5 Gold Gloves. Brian McCann's behind the plate. Shane Victorino in center. Mark DeRosa in left. We'll talk about that as we continue. And on the mound for Team USA, 33-year-old veteran left-hander Ted Lilly.
Ted Lilly coming off his only appearance during the WBC. Threw 3 innings in the last game of the pool up in Toronto. And really, what's most impressive about him, and he's not a marquee name in the sense where you could match up all the Cy Young Award names of the CC Sabathias or the Roy Halladay's. But this guy in the last 3 years won over 47 games. He's a frontline guy. Chicago Cubs last year, 17 wins. Throws a lot of strikes. He threw 36 pitches the other day in 3 innings, 24 strikes.
Elimination night between the U.S. and Puerto Rico, and we are underway from Dolphin Stadium. Mike Aviles in to start it off for Puerto Rico, and a swing and a miss starts this one tonight. Aviles did not play yesterday in Puerto Rico's loss to Venezuela. 0 for 3 against Team USA on Saturday. This is, for those just joining us, the second meeting in 4 nights between 2 of the pre-tournament favorites. And it was a mercy rule win for Puerto Rico here on Saturday, an 11-1 thumping that sent both teams here, as there's one gone for Ted Lilly to start the night.
Aggressive style hitting already. You're going to see early on if Ted Lilly's getting his, and it's not going to be lighting up the gun, but he's smooth and he's sneaky. He used to throw really across his body, but if he could sneak up that 88 to 90-ish, that's what his velocity is. But he's got a big slow hook, as he just threw to Mike Aviles there. That's a great speed variation. If he does that, these Puerto Rican hitters are going to have a tough time with that speed variation tonight.
Here's Pudge Rodriguez. He was one of the big bats that sunk the U.S. on Saturday, 3 for 4 with an RBI in their first meeting in this tournament. Of course, Pudge, the big story yesterday, guys, having displayed his talents enough in this World Baseball Classic, Harold, and at the age of 37, perhaps the Houston Astros were watching him. Well, maybe they had this plan all along, but they signed him to a 1-year deal last night.
Well, thanks for bringing me in, Matt. Yeah, you know, it was a situation where Pudge really...
That is so tired, by the way. That's unbelievable. Coming in hot, HR. Pitch to Pudge, check swing, and they appeal. Harold, what about that 1-year deal for Pudge Rodriguez?
Hey, I tell you what, I really think the team got a nice pick from Pudge. He's shown great work ethic. He's in great shape, and his career should be extended. I think they're going to get a lot out of him. I really do. What you laughing at there, partner?
Thanks for bringing me in. 2 balls and a strike as you count to Pudge Rodriguez. You know, just to reiterate, guys, and for those that might not have caught World Baseball Classic tonight prior to our taking air, limited batting practice today. Field was covered for much of the afternoon. Rain is expected tomorrow. Rain may or may not play a factor as we continue tonight. 3 balls and a strike to Rodriguez. And there's ball 4. Lilly not missing by much early. You might wonder, given this powerful lineup that Ted Lilly has to face, how has he fared in previous matchups against the likes of Beltran, Delgado, and Pudge Rodriguez? And in fact, Lilly has run that gauntlet rather successfully over the years. Beltran in limited plate appearances has homered once, Pudge twice, but just 4 for 18 against him. And here's one of the members of that group, the switch-hitting all-star center fielder Carlos Beltran.
Beltran's been swinging the bat as good as I've seen him swing any spring right now from both sides of the plate. And this is where they got going the other night. They went first to third on people and really put the pressure on the U.S. We'll see if they are able to put this combination together right now.
Beltran yanks that foul. 0-2 the count to Carlos Beltran.
Here's a look at Beltran with the ball up the middle. Here's another first and third situation. Another first and third right here. And then he just beats this ball out, showing his speed. He showed a lot of versatility the other night. And then the power, obviously, from the right side, which he's on right now.
He has really come alive since this pool began on Saturday. And the next offering home to Beltran again. He's early and still behind 0-2.
You know, Al, I got a question for you. Are those purpose pitches? You saw him yank the one foul and that pitch there foul. Do you keep going in on a guy if you see that?
Yes. You know, he threw a slider before that. And anytime you see it, it's hard for a right-handed batter to keep a ball that's cutting in on him fair unless you pull your hands in. And in both those instances, he threw a harder slider that had maybe 78 to 82 velocity, and then the curveball there way out in front. This is where you either climb the ladder inside or you could really expand down the zone. Looks like he's coming back inside.
See McCann setting up on the inside corner, and Mark Wegner grants time to Beltran.
You know, somebody would say, well, okay, he's coming in. It looks like he's just on it. But really, if that ball's cutting in enough, and if it's off the plate, you cannot keep the ball fair. Unless by pulling your hands in and really trying to think left center field, and that's where you get some jam shots as a left-handed pitcher.
Rodriguez off first, just underway. 1 out, 1 on, top of the first inning, and the pitch home to Beltran is fouled away.
See, now the flip side of it, if I'm hitting and I got a guy pounding me in, then I'm looking in. I'm just going to give him the outside. And so I would think that he may go out, but, you know, right there, Beltran got a pitch in. But you're right, Al, you have to pull your hands in to hit a ball in.
Well, we showed the graphic. You know, sometimes, look, if there's not much history, but 2 for 8 with a home run and 4 walks, Ted Lilly doesn't feel that comfortable facing Carlos Beltran.
Breaking ball, got him.
And that was a perfect pitch on the outside half.
Just what you're talking about, Harold. He sped up inside, and then just that big loopy curveball. If Ted Lilly gets about 20 miles, 15 to 20 miles an hour speed variation from his fastball, that's what makes it so difficult. And it's got tight spin, and you saw Carlos Beltran there just locking up, couldn't pull the trigger.
So now Carlos Delgado, 0 for 3 yesterday against Venezuela. Delgado had gotten off to such a blistering start in the first pool round with a 5 for 6 line after 3 games. A couple of starts for Delgado. 1 for 4 against the U.S. here on Saturday, and again hitless yesterday. Pool 2 has cooled him off just a bit. 2 gone with a runner at first for him. This is something I want to get into a little bit, Al, later on in talking about Ted Lilly, and you talk about some of these big batters that he's got to face. Had some really unusual splits last year. Give you a chance to expand on it later, but at first glance, when you see left-handers hitting about 100 points higher against a left-hander like Ted Lilly, what are the first things you could attribute that to?
He's not getting his fastball in on the inside part of the plate for a called strike. And if a left-handed batter doesn't honor a left-handed pitcher with something hard inside for a strike, left-handed hitters look out over the plate, because that's where the breaking ball, your slider curveball, is going to go away like that.
And a breaking ball that Delgado bounces to first. A convenient hop for Youkilis. Calling it a foul ball.
Wow. He tried to play it fair. I don't know what else he might have done. If he went ahead and attacked that ball, he might have been able to field that. But let's see again here. It's just one of those plays. If he goes and gets it right there, he might be able to keep it fair.
Well, that's a fair ball.
I agree with you.
I think the first base umpire, Luis Ramirez, was looking to Mark Wegner as to make the call. If it's past the bag, it's the first base umpire's call. If it's before, it's Mark Wegner's.
And he's blocked off.
He was blocked off.
You put him on top of the bag, he gets that much taller, and his body's wide. He blocked him off.
See if Delgado can take advantage of the second life. Still 0-2 with a runner at first.
Get back, Matty. If Lilly's able to, and I didn't watch many of his games last year with the Cubs, but to say that his batting average against was up, he probably wasn't getting enough hard in to open up that outside part of the plate.
Pudge runs, and they've got him picked off on an 0-2 pitch. With Carlos Delgado at the plate, Pudge tries to run and pays the price. Nothing despite the one-out walk to start the ball game. A half inning gone in Miami. Puerto Rico 0, the U.S. coming to bat. The top Youkilis right and done in the middle of the order. Mark DeRosa's in left, batting seventh. Ryan McCann and Shane Victorino rounded out for the U.S. tonight. Jonathan Sanchez's night has begun with strike one to Brian Roberts, who provided just enough spark on Sunday for Team USA to win its first do-or-die matchup of this World Baseball Classic and defeat the Netherlands. There's a drive out to left center field. It's going to hang for Iram Boca Chica. And there's one gone.
It's the best name in baseball, man. I love that name. Boca Chica.
Well, Jonathan Sanchez, guys, was a 5-0 winner for Puerto Rico on Wednesday. Went 4 innings in his only WBC start. 9-12 last year with the Giants in his first full season in the big leagues. And we were talking about him before the game started. This is a left-hander with electric stuff.
It is. You know, you look at a couple things if you haven't seen a guy pitch much. Strikeouts to innings, 158 innings, 154 strikeouts. Problem, like most young pitchers, 75 walks in 158 innings. It's about 4.5. He's created a lot of offense for the opposing team, therefore that 5 ERA. I know his pitching coach, Dave Rigetti, absolutely loves him. Just about every team in baseball this winter, if they were talking trade with the Giants, they wanted him. This guy is special. There's talk of him being a front end guy, whether it's a 1-2 or 1-2-3, somewhere in there. He's got that stuff.
2 balls and no strikes to Derek Jeter. Jeter lines to left. Boca Chica was frozen, but he recovers, and there are 2 gone. Well, we've only seen Iram Boca Chica among the defenders for Puerto Rico. Take a look at the rest of their defense as you take a look at this fine running play that he made in left. It is Boca Chica in left, Beltran in center, the 3-time Gold Glover. Alex Rios in right, Gonzalez, Aviles, Lopez, and Delgado around the horn. Giovanni Soto, the reigning rookie of the league in the National League, behind the plate for Jonathan Sanchez. So with 2 gone, tonight's DH for Team USA, Jimmy Rollins.
Well, Jimmy was talking about hitting third in the lineup. He said, I know DHing is going to be a little bit different, but hitting third is something I'm not accustomed to doing. It's going to be a lot of fun. You know, and he's got some thunder working in his bat right now. And you know what? Your third hitter is usually your best hitter in your lineup, most versatile. And he's the best hitter right now that the U.S. has going.
Why is that so unusual? If you're just taking it a bat to a bat. Well, not unusual, but like I hear that all the time. You know, this is his at bat against Jonathan Sanchez. How would that differ if he was batting?
Because it's a different strategy. When you're leading off, you may try to get a little bit deeper. You might take a 2-0 pitch. You might take a 2-1 pitch. You might be looking in a certain place. When you're hitting third in the order, depending on if there's runners on base, you expand your strike zone. You may put a ball in play to pick a run. A lot of strategic things.
So you would actually change the style of hitter based on where you are in the lineup?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Your approach, not necessarily your swing, but your approach changes. Like that right there, 3-1. He's trying to hit the ball in the ballpark. And that's the biggest difference, I think, when you're working on it.
Well, Rollins and Roberts certainly electrified the top of the U.S. lineup in the win over the Netherlands yesterday. And there's ball 4 to Jay Smooth. He's aboard with 2 gone. See if Jimmy Rollins tries to run. Carlos Delgado will hold him at first base. I want to bring out the point to viewers watching on MLB Network tonight that if it seems a little herky-jerky, it's because it is. This is a world broadcast feed. These pictures are going all over the world tonight. So we don't have the same lines of communication that we're normally used to when we do a telecast here in the States.
Would you say it was?
Choppy, herky-jerky. It's going fine. I mean, this is what we have to do because everybody wants to televise this event. This is the event. The World Baseball Classic is so big abroad that there's no way these stadiums could accommodate 16 production trucks and you know, hundreds of camera positions. So we're all making do with the same pictures and equipment here, and I think it's gone pretty well given all the circumstances. It's been a lot of fun to watch. 0-1 is the count home. Kevin Youkilis 0 for 3 on Saturday against Team Puerto Rico, and again he was in pretty good company. Not a lot of offense for Davy Johnson's Team USA.
I think you're going to see Rollins steal this bag. You know, he's shown him that he's obviously got a step-over move. I always felt like if I had a left-handed pitcher, I hadn't seen his move before, I want to make him throw over out of the position where his hands are set and then he lifts his leg. But if he doesn't show you that after a couple throwovers, take the bag on it. That means he doesn't have a move.
0-2 to Youkilis.
I got another one for you, Al. Man, we're really getting you in this game. Left-handed pitchers, I always felt like they had their mind made up that they were going to first or going home.
Some do, based on how they're set. Yes, you make a good point, but I could tell you, my base was close enough. Jonathan Sanchez's base is close enough where he could change his mind as he lifts.
I didn't buy it.
Rollins runs, and there'll be no throw down. Jimmy Rollins with a stolen base. He's in scoring position now with 2 gone.
Not on him.
No, but you know what? Just that shot right there, I agree with you, because you saw when he lifted his leg, he really broke the plane behind the pitcher's rubber.
Well, even that, here's what I'm saying. He never showed a move to first. So therefore, I don't believe he has a move to first. That's going to
a good
freeze.
He's got a move. He made a good move.
Not a good move.
Well, the only 2 stolen bases for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic belong to Jimmy Rollins. And a base hit can put the Americans on the board early. Youkilis serves one into right. Rios is there for it, and that base runner dies in the first. We played an inning in Miami on an elimination night in the World Baseball Classic, scoreless. But Puerto Rico has been well represented in the stands here in Miami during Pool 2. A lot of folks making the trip, a lot of Puerto Rican natives that live in the area here in Miami that have just made a short drive out to Dolphin Stadium to watch their national team. It is Carlos Delgado leading things off in the second for Jose Oquendo. Delgado, Rios, and Soto against Ted Lilly. No score after an inning.
You ever feel that way when the guy was thrown out? You were down 0-2. Now you got a whole new at bat, fresh at bat.
Oh, absolutely. And he's already changed his pattern too. First pitch he went inside. Remember last time he was pitching away from Delgado. Here comes a breaking ball. So that's something. There's a ball inside on him again. And you talked about establishing that inside pitch for the left-handed pitcher. I agree with you. I didn't talk to you about that when you were saying that, but I totally agree because most left-handed hitters are looking to shoot that ball the other way. Unless you hang that breaking ball, then he may just chalet one into the right field seats.
These two no strangers to one another outside of Pudge Rodriguez. No other Puerto Rican hitter has faced Lilly more often, and a great diving play by Mark DeRosa in left. He's listed as an infielder, but last year in Chicago, Luke Piniella had him in left field 21 times, a career-high number of starts for him out there.
Well, he got a great jump on this ball. I love this play all the way around. Delgado hit the ball where he's supposed to, but DeRosa, that's one you actually have to dive for. So often we see guys in the outfield time it. He actually had to dive for that ball. Nice play. Put him anywhere, Matt. Put him anywhere.
Yeah, he brings a number of gloves to the ballpark with him these days. I'm not sure he's going to be used in that super utility role in Cleveland in 2009, but he has made himself a very valuable player in that regard. Here's Alex Rios now with one away.
And I'm glad you brought that up. I want to expound on that real quick because I think they should use him as a utility guy. Keeps him fresh, keeps him alert. It's just like a new game every day to him. I don't see him every day sitting at third base playing third for them. But that's their call.
Well, when you have somebody so valuable and can play all the positions so well, why not? Give you some of your everyday guys a day off, and you really don't lose much.
Ball and a strike to count to Alex Rios. He was 2 for 4 yesterday in the loss to Venezuela. Had a hit against the U.S. on Saturday night.
This kid right here is on the verge of becoming a superstar. I'd like to see the power numbers come back this year. Last year he struggled a little bit. I know he was hurt, but 2 years ago you would have said, look out, he's going to another level.
You know who I think is going to help him is Cito Gaston and Gene Tennis, the hitting coach, manager of the Blue Jays, and now the hitting coach. Cito took over. Cito's a kind of a back leg. If you get a fastball, let it fly. And he got caught up in a little bit of not really doing what you just described a couple years ago. Thinking right center, shorten his swing.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is, being aggressive early in the count. You know, they sat around so much in Toronto with that philosophy they had to go deep in the count, and you end up in defensive pitches. Right there, it was a great swing on a 2-1 count he took right there.
2 balls and 2 strikes as pitching coach Marcel Latchman watches on from Team USA's dugout. A full count now, 3-2. You know, we saw Ted Lilly warm up a little differently to start this second inning, guys, and we might be able to show that footage to you in a bit.
It's about finishing, Matty. See, look at his follow-through. That is not what you want to do as a pitcher. And before the inning, he was on the backside of the mound with his leg being higher than the back leg.
Oh, Rios with a high drive to deep left field. This one is well gone. Sitting dead red on 3-2. And Alex Rios has touched them all.
Well, you were talking about back-legging the ball, Matt. You saw the swing on 2-1. He fouled it straight back. He just missed it. 2-2, Lilly missed, and here's the 3-2. And that is a serious back leg. See you later, out of here. I'm telling you, he's on the verge of superstardom. You fantasy people out there, draft him now. He's going to have a big year.
Well, Rios had been one of the cooler bats for Team Puerto Rico before last night. He had been just 1 for 12 before a couple of hits yesterday. And his World Baseball Classic dinger has made it a 1-0 game. Here's Giovanni Soto now.
As a hitter should, and now you saw the replay there. The pitch was supposed to be inside. You saw how far off Ryan McCann had to reach over. Ended up not only inside corner, ended up outer half. It's about execution. It's about location. I know we talked about Jake Peavy's start earlier. You were saying about stuff-wise. You don't have to throw a ball 95 miles an hour to be effective and also dominate. Maybe you don't get a lot of strikeouts. It's about location and being able to expand. Rios did exactly what he was supposed to. He got a 3-2 fastball, 87, missed his spot, hit it.
Okay, now I'm looking at Soto facing his battery mate. How cool is that?
Yeah, we've seen this combination a couple of times in the World Baseball Classic.
I hated it. I faced it a couple times. I absolutely figured they knew exactly what it looks like and my sequence and everything.
You know, we should actually play that out one night on MLB Tonight as Soto fouls it away. What did guys that caught Al Leiter hit against Al Leiter?
I could tell you Todd Pratt is batting 700, 800. 9, maybe. Yes. Piazza after, I didn't like facing him.
He hit you before anyway, it didn't matter.
Yogi Berra, I didn't like facing him.
Here's the 3-2 to Soto, and it's popped up. Out in right field, here comes Adam Dunn. Yeah, Brian Roberts better back off. You're going to lose that collision.
Hurry.
And Team USA guys can ill afford any more injuries. They are not particularly deep tonight. As we take a look at the umpires, home plate umpire is Mark Wegner tonight. Same crew that's been here throughout. Luis Ramirez is at first. Ed Rapuano's at second. He's the crew chief. Masato Tomiyos, been an umpire in the Japanese Central League since 1978. That is our umpiring crew tonight. With 2 gone now, here's Andy Gonzalez, Florida Marlin property, playing third base tonight. And he has not played here in Pool 2 so far. But I want to get back to that talking point, guys. The fact that the U.S. team is not deep tonight, and Davey Johnson will not be able to manage matchups as he ordinarily would.
Well, that's a big thing, to be able to manage the matchups and do all the unique things, and they cannot add players now until they go to the next round, if they go to the next round. Which
good point, Matt. But forget about matchup. Just cross your fingers and hope nobody gets hurt. Curtis Granderson is the only everyday player. He's got Chris Iannetta on the bench, which he's not going to want to switch it with McCann because there's going to be a catching issue. Ryan Braun is still on the roster. He's got his side hurt. Chipper, he's out. They have no one else. There's one bench person outside of the second catcher.
Ball and 2 strikes to count to Andy Gonzalez.
Some of the guys said thank you. They all want to play. You know, that's been a big problem too, is you haven't been getting at bats. You haven't got a chance to play every day. So now you're where you want to be. Go ahead and go play. You know, Matt, I couldn't help think, but when we're looking at the umpires, watching the game last night, the home run replay that they had, it took 6 minutes. It took forever. And usually that takes about 2.5 minutes. They didn't make the decision to go back. They sat and talked and tried to figure out maybe, maybe not. Just go look at it.
It wasn't working. Later, Ed Rapuano said they didn't base it on that. They based it on the third base umpire, who said he saw it absolutely 110% sure that it was a home run. They went back there, and it wasn't working, apparently.
Really?
Yes, yes.
You are bringing it. I didn't know that. Did you know that?
Well, it's a ball and 2 strikes here to Andy Gonzalez. 1-0 for Puerto Rico. We're in the top of the second.
I swear I didn't know that.
Solo shot by Rios, making it 1-0. And Lily misses down at the shoe tops. They appealed. No swing, says Luis Ramirez.
Luis having a tough game down there today already. Ground ball, and I'm not sure that he didn't swing on this pitch.
Oh, I got to tell you, if he hits it, it's a double.
I might be with you on this one, Matt.
As a former colleague of mine in San Diego likes to say.
You know what? He held up.
He held up.
Yeah, he did.
What's the rule? The intent to hit?
Well, everybody has intent.
Well, isn't that the rule?
That's a bad rule. That
doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. I mean, what are you going to stand there and not think about swinging, and then
then you hear all the barroom discussion. Oh, he broke his wrists. You know, he broke the plane to the plate. That's nowhere. I don't know where that stuff started. The intent to hit is the only subjective phrase that's out there apparently. Here's the 3-2 home, and it's rolled out to shortstop. A chance for Jeter. And that'll do it. Boy, I'll tell you what, in these international games, you got people blowing whistles. I'm looking for timeouts all over the floor. Coach Knight chucking a chair onto the field. Take the whistles away. 1-0 Puerto Rico. Whistles, drums, bugles. It's a regular orchestra out there in the stands tonight as David Wright leads things off for Team USA, back alongside Al Leiter and Harold Reynolds, Matt Vasgersian in Miami.
That is the flavor of any Latin country playing baseball games. It's crazy. You were here last night watching the game?
No, I was watching the game.
Yeah.
And it was,
I know you guys are used to that. Every time there's a ground ball and you hear the whistles going off, I start looking around like something's wrong.
It's all the football days for you, Matty.
Call timeout. Under review. Ball and 2 strikes, a count to David Wright, who among the things that David Wright brings to this particular matchup is a robust career batting average in this ballpark. You just saw some beautiful aerial shots of Dolphin Stadium a moment ago. A career .350 hitter here in his days in the National League East. Of course, I'm not sure if you could translate any of that experience into world competition. It is 2-2 to David Wright, leading things off here in the second.
David's had some big help carry the club. You know, a lot of times the Mets have come through here facing the Marlins and needing some big at bats from David Wright. He's come through, and he's also faced some very tough pitching in this ballpark. You think about the pitching the Marlins have had. They have a .350 average. That's pretty good.
The next 2-2 is shot back up the box, a base hit, and David Wright has the first knock for Team USA. It comes to lead off the home second.
You know, there are some ballparks you just feel good in. I mean, they got that big blue background, and you got the other side of it is nice and dark. The ball just jumps out at you, and this is probably one of those parks David Wright just feels good in.
You know what, that approach right there, Harold, you know, obviously he's got great power, and left field here with the teal mini wall, it's fairly easy to go that way, but the straightaway, the little left center, is 434. It's very legit center, right center. He's got a nice approach, professional hitter, David Wright.
Here's Adam Dunn. Dunn had a big day against the Netherlands on Sunday, a home run, part of a 2-for-4 afternoon. U.S. able to stave off elimination.
He had a big swing right there, too. And, you know, back to David Wright real quick. He was not getting to that pitch a week ago. You know, that's just at bats. You know, he's playing every day, and he's finally getting his hands through the zone and being able to catch up that ball in the inside half and take it back up the middle. Still hasn't thrown over that. Al.
Yeah, it's a good point. You're right. If a guy isn't comfortable, why show a bad move if that's all you have?
Because, you know what? I mean, if you don't, a lot of guys look like they're coming over anyway just because they're left-handed. If you don't have a good move, you freeze that runner just with the thought of, man, it looks like he's coming over. That move right there ain't going to get it done, son. You know, you can run all day on that.
It's not the good one, Harold.
That's not a good one.
1 ball and 1 strike to count to Adam Dunn. Mark DeRosa waiting on deck. Leadoff hitters aboard for Team USA. Talking about Adam Dunn going deep the other day. The big guy has gone deep 3 times in the World Baseball Classic. This one to dead central, right over that nice teal hitting background.
That is a bomb. Not too many home runs center field here.
You know, you talk about that, Harold, and I know the guys I've spoken to that enjoy hitting this ballpark, they always cite that background as Dunn bounces this one foul. It's not the weather. It's not that you can get yourself looser in the humidity faster. Those are all legit things, but the first thing players point to is that background in center field.
It is beautiful for a hitter. I mean, that is paradise. You see nothing but the white baseball coming out of that background there in the blue seats, and also just a little bit even over between the black back there. It's a great background to pick the ball up. And with the left-hander, he's coming right out of those blue seats. That's his best move.
And also lighting. There's stadiums, even with a good backdrop, batter's eye, the lighting is different. I know in some of the dome stadiums, it just looks off.
2 balls and 2 strikes. And Sanchez concerned with David Wright, despite the fact that David has not shown a really aggressive lead off of first base.
He's going to take a bag on him. And the key, if I was running off Sanchez, as soon as he had a quick lift of his leg, I'm taking off. He comes over, he goes real slow, or he has that step-off move. Anytime he lifts his leg fast, he's going to the plate. And, you know, that's what David Wright's trying to read right now. There you go. You're off and running. That's the pitch that you want to run.
Wright stole 15 bags last year, his lowest stolen base total since his rookie year with the Mets in 2004. And it's full 3 balls and 2 strikes to Adam Dunn. Well, what do you guys do here? Play Davey Johnson. You start him here?
Absolutely. I think you see him running. And the other thing is, Adam Dunn is as locked in as I've seen him into a ball game.
And that's the other side of the equation there. With Adam Dunn, you also get the strikeouts. They decide not to send Wright, and they might have done themselves a favor. Instead, it's just a strikeout of the hitter.
3-2 slider down and away, perfect location. Adam Dunn hoping that home plate umpire Mark Wegner doesn't ring him up. Nice pitch.
First strikeout of the night for Jonathan Sanchez. 1 out, 1 on now for Mark DeRosa.
I'm laughing at Adam Dunn because he did not show that slider the whole AB. And he's like, are you kidding me? Couldn't locate the fastball. And I fouled a couple good pitches off, and then, oh, you're saying he did? Just because you're saying he did? I don't think he did.
We'll go back to the tape. It was a ball. No, that's it. He was power most of the at bat. 3-2. What does the hitter looking 3-2 count? Heater from a guy that throws in the low 90s.
Who doesn't throw strikes? You documented how many times he walks people.
Ball and no strikes to Mark DeRosa, who we've already seen make a fine play in left field. A little timeout as Soto goes out to chat with Sanchez. And it gives us a chance to chat about Mark DeRosa and the fact that he's out there playing left field tonight. We came to the workout yesterday and talked to Davey Johnson about his dinged up outfield. There are some people banged up. And part of the reason Mark DeRosa was selected to play on this team, the skipper told us, was because of his versatility.
I remember when we were in Las Vegas during the winter meetings, when they were announcing the World Baseball Classic team, DeRosa was one of the first guys that Davey Johnson picked because he wanted to have that versatility. Never going to get him.
And the throw down to second is not in time. Wright has it stolen. So David Wright wins a very patient waiting game, picking his spot to run against Sanchez and Soto, and has Team USA's second bag of the night.
Well, perfect throw by Giovanni Soto, but he stole this on the pitcher, as you do most things. See the ball speed up at the end, great throw, but David got a nice read, a nice jump. Now when he lifts the leg fast, you take off. That's the move on him. And he's going to have to vary that move if he wants to shut runners down as the season comes to him.
You make a great point, Harold. That's exactly right. Look, a lot of times a pitcher doesn't even realize. I know there were some guys, I played with Steve Traxel. He never threw over when he came to a complete set. He'd throw over when he was coming to a set. And, you know, didn't realize it. Some guys look certain ways. I remember Ron Guidry was a guy that if he looked home, he was going to first. If he looked at you at first base, he was going home. And sometimes it takes a video or even watching a broadcast to see that you're doing that. But you're right. All it'll take is one time for him to do that quick leg kick and throw over.
Yeah, and then you got to come up with a new game plan. But that's the stuff you sit in the dugout and you talk about, and you try to pick up tendencies.
And DeRosa shoots a knock into right field. Rios is up throwing, and they're going to hold right at third, wisely so. Hall of Fame third base coach Mike Schmidt putting up that stop sign for David Wright. Rios had a full head of steam, and you don't want to risk that play at the plate this early in the contest.
Well, you saw the other night where Mike Schmidt held up a runner with Beltran, and Beltran booted the ball. You have to make that decision. David Wright's got no chance against Rios making this throw right here, and held him up immediately. It was Dunn, the base runner, the other night. This time it is David Wright.
Runners at the corners with only one gone, and really the only U.S. hitter to enjoy a good night against Puerto Rico on Saturday. The left-handed hitting Braves backstop Brian McCann. McCann drove in the only run of the game for Team USA Saturday as he lays off here. 1-for-1 yet on Sunday, rather, and the Americans win over the Dutch, and we have a visit to the mound for Jonathan Sanchez.
Sanchez looks like a guy that could really be tough on you. He kind of slings the ball.
Pitching coach Carlos Arroyo out to chat with the left-hander.
Arroyo spent 34 years in the Phillies organization now. And he was your pitching coach in winter ball, right?
Yeah. 1 year I played for the Arecibo Los Lobos, and Carlos was my pitching coach. What a gentleman. Nice man.
Again, for those unfamiliar with the rules in the World Baseball Classic, pitchers are limited to 85 pitches. And not that it's an issue for either starter early today, but something to keep our eyes on for sure as McCann takes a strike.
And what happened in the Venezuela game, you go beyond if you're in the middle of an at-bat. You end up walking Carlos Beltran, Felix Hernandez.
You know, the rules, the pitching rules in the World Baseball Classic have been a little cloudy as McCann lifts a drive out to left center field. Boca Chica's there scampering under. They're going to tag up with Wright. The throw home is not in time. DeRosa to second. Some very aggressive play nets a run for Team USA.
Well, that was a great slide by David Wright. I do not endorse a head-first slide at home, but that is the one time you may want to do it. He read the throw going down the line towards third base, and he's able to make the adjustment to slide on the inside. Watch this slide. He goes inside and was able to avoid the tag. That is a terrific slide. Had he been foot first, might have gave the catcher a chance to get him. Soto with a great effort to dive back. Boca Chica's got a strong arm. This is barely offline. What a gamble, but it paid off.
Boy, and some terrific overhead pictures from our international crew here in Miami tonight as Shane Victorino has a chance to drive in a run. DeRosa took second on the back end of that play. Credit McCann with another RBI. And David Wright, guys, among those most outspoken as to how much he's enjoyed playing in the World Baseball Classic, said unbaited the other day, I'm coming back next time they do this for sure. Victorino lines it into center. This dumps in front of Beltran. Here comes DeRosa. This throws up the line, 2-0 U.S.
A little different this time with 2 outs. You're running on the crack of the bat. But I'm telling you, to challenge their outfield, you have to do it. But we're looking at maybe 3 of the best arms defensively in the outfield in the World Baseball Classic all the way around per man.
And this is exactly what Puerto Rico did to the U.S. in the first meeting. Push the defense, make them make good throws, make them hit the cutoff man. This ball you see leak off of Carlos Beltran, smart base running by Victorino, taking the extra base on the overthrown throw.
But you know what made this happen? Was DeRosa tagging up when David Wright came in to score, put him in scoring position at second base on that play before.
So the U.S. has taken the 2-1 lead. And so far 2 for 3 with runners in scoring position. As Brian Roberts lines softly into center, Beltran makes the catch to retire the side, not before the U.S. can tie and take the lead. We're through 2-1 Americans. Well, the U.S. team that was embarrassed against Team Puerto Rico here Saturday night has taken a 2-1 lead through 2 with a couple of runs against Jonathan Sanchez in the second. So Ted Lilly will work with a lead for the first time tonight, as he'll go to work on Iran Boca Chica, Felipe Lopez, and Mike Aviles in the third. Puerto Rico got off to the 1-0 lead on the tape measure shot by Alex Rios, and the U.S. counters with 2 in the bottom half. 2-1 Americans. Underway in the third. A fastball starts Boca Chica with a strike. Well, Iran Boca Chica, a guy that's been at it for quite a while, drafted as a first-rounder by the Expos back in 1994. He has played for no fewer than 7 major league organizations. And a couple of hops for Jeter. Nicely fielded one away.
Well, he did a great job of keeping his feet moving right there. And, you know, early in the spring, early in the season, you're really conscious of using your legs. And Derek did a nice job of continually keeping his body moving, put his feet in the right position, and as a result, was able to field that nice. Watch the movement here. Watch him keep his feet going. And now he's able to set himself, set his sights, and make the throw across the diamond. That's about as good a fielding position as you can get in.
Here's the switch hitting second baseman Felipe Lopez. Lopez had a big night against the U.S. on Saturday. 2 for 4 with 3 runs batted in. It included a home run. This might be one of those matchups that scares Ted Lilly in the back of his mind, aware that Felipe Lopez has touched him up twice. 2 for 8 lifetime, both hits home runs. Here's the 2-0 pitch to the current Diamondback, and it's 3 balls and no strikes.
He's pitching that way, man. There's no doubt about it. I don't care if it's a short history of a 0 for 3 lifetime career batting average against, or somebody's got a big history. If they got a couple home runs, you know the pitch, you know the sequence.
Tried to hit him.
He made sure he missed, though.
He did. He made sure he missed. I'll tell you what, though, Lopez reacted like, what are you doing throwing that far inside? But he's been struggling with trying to find his command. He's been all over the place. What do you do in this situation?
Well, you never want to walk the number 9 guy. I don't care if he has the history that he has. Make him put it in play. The general reason why they're batting down below is they don't have the same thump as 3, 4, 5. You pick a spot in an area where you take the sting out of the bat and hope that he hits it at somebody.
Here's Mike Aviles, the shortstop now. Aviles did not play against Venezuela yesterday. You know, when you look at the guys in this lineup, Al, Aviles, Rios, Soto, Andy Gonzalez, those 4 hitters had never faced Ted Lilly before in the big leagues. When given that choice, and it's talked about a lot, when there's not a lot of experience heads up, are you of the mind that the pitcher has the advantage?
Yes, without a doubt. Once there's a history, look, pitchers only have 1 or 2 or 3 pitches. You know, big league pitchers will have 3 pitches. A good big league pitcher, 3 pitches where he can go to at any count. And once a hitter could see release point, where it comes out, movement, arm slot, the advantage goes toward a hitter, especially if he's had any kind of success.
So here's the thing. While you guys were talking, I raised my hands like I can't believe this. He throws 5 straight balls, 4 to Lopez, first one to him, and then Aviles swings at the first at a 1-0 strike. Take a pitch. That's the role of a leadoff guy. Now he comes back. He hasn't found himself. He's 2-1. Right here, it's got to be exactly where you want it, or you're not swinging. So they throw a hit and run on. I just think situations like that, you help the pitcher out. They help Ted Lilly get himself back into a groove. There's no need for a hit and run right there. There's no need for him to swing at a 1-0 pitch. Make him work.
And he's doing just that. 47 pitches. He's 1 out in the 3rd inning. I mentioned at the start of the game, he threw 3 innings of 36 pitches, 24 of them were strikes up in Toronto. He is a strike thrower, Ted Lilly.
The 2-2 to Aviles. Mike Aviles, who will go back to play for the Kansas City Royals will have a new teammate. You know, we talk about the World Baseball Classic being used as an audition of sorts for players who were looking for work. And the Kansas City Royals just today reached an agreement with Sidney Ponson, who pitched so well for the Dutch in the World Baseball Classic. Swing and a miss. Lopez runs. A throw down. Strike him out. Throw him out. The double play.
They played themselves into that double. Those two outs right there. They helped Lilly all the way out and then sent the guy who didn't get a good jump. And that's what happens. You run yourself out of an inning.
Nothing in the Puerto Rico third. 2.5 gone. It's still 2-1 Team USA. Jonathan Sanchez back to work for Team Puerto Rico here in the third. He gets Jeter, Rollins, and Youkilis for Team US. 2-1 Americans back with Al Leiter and Harold Reynolds, Matt Vasgersian in Miami. The Puerto Ricans got off to an early lead, 1-0 behind the home run from Alex Rios. Team USA countered, manufacturing a 2-spot in the second.
Well, Jeter hit a rocket last time up, and this part of the order has a chance to really take off. Second time around, see what he's got. If they can continue to add on, it's a nice little thing for them.
Manager Jose Oquendo. Every time I say the words Jose Oquendo, every time I say his name, I hear Jack Buck and Mike Shannon in my head.
Well, they said it a lot.
Secret weapon, Jose Oquendo.
Who would that be?
That was my Jack Buck.
Jack Buck.
Was it no good? Was that no good?
That was good. That was real good.
It's a 2-1 to Jeter, and it's 3 balls and a strike.
Who would that be?
But I think of Jack Buck. I think of
Go crazy. Go crazy. That one.
Kurt Gibson.
On a home run by the Wizard.
Oh, no. Well, then the.
There's the 3-1 from Sanchez, and Jeter shoots this one back up the middle. Great backhand play by Lopez. Flips to Aviles, and the razzle-dazzle not in time to get Jeter.
It was a nice thought, but the ball's hit so hard, and Lopez has such a strong arm. I would have went ahead and taken the chance himself to throw it out across the diamond. But he's caught off balance right here, and that's why he flipped it. You work on that in batting practice. You talk about it before the play's hit, and that's why the shortstop's in the right position. You anticipate it.
You know as well as I do, there are a couple runners in the big leagues who are out on that play.
Oh, absolutely.
Derek Jeter's not one of them, mercifully for Team USA. And here's Rollins now.
Well, we saw that play happen the other night. The Cubans executed it beautifully against Mexico in the World Baseball Classic in Mexico the other day. I should say they were playing in Mexico. I don't know exactly which team they pulled it on, but it was beautiful. I was watching that game. After a while, you see 15 games, they all run together, but that play stood out.
Yeah, stuff like that reminded me of an old teammate, Roberto Alomar. And I don't know if you've done the same play and got somebody out, but Robbie was a guy that was always thinking ahead in different running situations. So many times he'd get a runner go around third base and throw a backdoor throw to the third baseman. I mean, you're right. During batting practice, you guys work on all this. It may come up.
And ironically enough, in a Puerto Rico U.S. game, a discussion of the Alomar family would come up. Family that's meant so much to baseball in Puerto Rico over the years. Sandy Sr., Sandy and Robbie, of course, and it's a bit of a shame that the winter leagues in Puerto Rico have changed over the last decade or so, and there are a lot of people there. Al, you and I were talking about this the other night, that feel like that since Puerto Rico is now subject to the amateur draft, it has changed the talent base there, that there are other island nations and other foreign countries where baseball has perhaps passed Puerto Rico. That's why this World Baseball Classic is so important to the people and players of Puerto Rico.
Yeah, well, it's almost not fair to all of a sudden now Puerto Rico is a part of the draft, because really until the other countries, meaning Venezuela and Dominican and all that, become part of the draft also, when you have the free agent system, you're going to have more kids with an opportunity to continue to play. You know, you're snatching that top talent. They're going to school over here. It's just a different game. But the biggest thing too, Matt, is winter ball. For last year, they did not have the winter season in Puerto Rico. They brought it back this year, so I think that's going to help also.
Jonathan Sanchez, an example of a player born in Puerto Rico, went to school in the States. He's trying to hold Jeter on here with a 2-2 count. He had a fantastic college career, did Sanchez, at the NAIA Power Ohio Dominican. Threw 4 no-hitters collegiately. I don't care if you're talking college ball, if you're talking American Legion, Little League. You no-hit a team, you're pretty good, you know, at your level.
He threw 4?
4 college no-hitters.
And yet he's in the 27th round in 2004, showing the stuff that he possesses. To your point about the draft.
And a foul ball. It's 2-2.
Fastball. Ooh. Jimmy Rollins would love to have that one back. Anytime a catch, you see Giovanni Soto shake it. No. Ball was missed location-wise. Here he's coming back inside again.
Here's the 2-2. And Rollins hits a one-hopper to Lopez, flips it to Aviles, and the double play executed against Team USA on this occasion. There are 2 gone.
Nice turn right there. It was all about getting it to the shortstop and let him make the throw. It was easy. That's called tailor-made.
Pitcher's best friend, little 2-ball, gets you out of some trouble.
So 2 gone and the base is empty. We remind you about what's happening tomorrow on World Baseball Classic coverage. The winner of this game takes on Venezuela, live right here on MLB Network at 7 Eastern, and then the late game can be seen on ESPN2. Cuba takes on the winner, or rather the loser, between Japan and Korea. That's an 11 p.m. Eastern start on ESPN2. World Baseball Classic coverage continues tomorrow night. Kevin Youkilis with 2 gone and the base is empty, and a 2-0 count.
So we have 7 p.m. here. 7 p.m. here on our network.
7 p.m. right here on MLB Network. Youkilis with a high drive to deep left. Boca Chica gives it a token look. That one is lost into the night. Wow. 3-1 U.S.
Well, he pounded him in on a pitch that knocked him off the plate on the first pitch. So Youkilis is sitting inside. 2-0 pitch. He got a fastball in and just, well, the swing speaks for itself. He got all that.
It almost, Harold, looked like a backdoor cutter. You saw where Soto was setting up. But 2-0, got what he was looking for.
That is a Fenway Park swing, though. You can tell he's used to that monster out there in left field. That's perfect swing for Fenway Park. And that's hard to do. You have to really work on getting that kind of an arc on your swing and be able to perfect it. He's done that. Think about the home runs you've seen him hit through the years. They go up high and deep.
You know, yesterday you talked about his unusual stance, and you said that he never saw it or looked at it until video, and I kind of question that, which is hard to believe that, you know, he didn't know before. And talked to him about it, and he said, that's right. You know, I didn't realize I was that exaggerated with his
followed
top
up on me.
Just wanted to, so what he said, I said, so you don't look at video? No, I trust you were doing what you were doing. He says, no, but what I do is I look at video for my swing, and all I'm trying to be is short and make sure that I'm not pulling my front side out. You're talking about that Fenway Park swing. That's his key, keeping the front side in, being very short on his front leg.
Ball 4 to David Wright, and Soto goes out to chat with Sanchez.
How about that, man? He's checking up on me.
You got right-hander Nelson Figueroa up in the bullpen.
I'm bringing a little conversation for the batting cage.
You know what? He's actually
followed up on me.
Al is.
There's no follow-up. I found it hard to believe, and I even said it to you. So I thought that was unusual.
It's okay. I'm joking with you. It's all right.
You've had 2 months at the MLB Network, Harold, of nobody calling you out on anything. like you and Larkin got all over Ricky Henderson for talking about his elbows on opening week of the network.
I look at the elbows. I'm still third.
A ball and no strikes. It counts to Adam Dunn with a man at first. And it's 2-0 now as Sanchez struggling a bit with command, and this has been an issue with him in the past. Last year with the Giants, Jonathan Sanchez walked 75.
Dunn's going to jump one right here.
He is approaching 60 pitches. There it was for a strike, 2-1.
He's going to jump one this at bat.
You know, I mentioned earlier, and we forgot to finish the thought, how the rules about pitching in the World Baseball Classic have been, I don't know that they've been hard to interpret, or if some teams just haven't had a good grasp of them. Beyond the 85 pitch limit here in the second round, there are limits as to how you can bring back relievers on back-to-back days, and it actually cost the Cuban team a chance to use a couple guys in their bullpen because they were either unaware or uninformed of the rule. And there's a strike to Dunn. It's 2-2.
Yeah, the situation was they finished an inning, and it actually counted as an inning if you finished the inning. And the manager thought that would count as a third of an inning as opposed to the whole inning. So then he pitched the following inning thinking it was only one inning, but it actually counted as 2 innings.
That is confusing, though, a little bit. In that way, in that interpretation, when you're going from pitch counts to all of a sudden saying this is an inning.
Yeah, it counted as 2 innings for him.
Yeah, but if you take a guy out right now, you say, oh, he pitched 2/3 of an inning. You know what I mean?
Right, right. That's exactly what happened.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Dunn.
Woo! Man, he almost made me look like a genius. I would have been talking a lot of trash had he gone deep right there, man. I'd have been feeling good about myself. Come on, Adam, jump one. He missed his pitch. He's done now. He's done. It's a good swing, though. It was fun while it lasted.
Mark DeRosa waiting on deck. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Dunn. A run in on the Euclid tape measure home run, and that one gets him on the hip. As big as Adam Dunn is, a 90-mile-an-hour fastball is going to feel just as bad on his body. And here comes Jose Oquendo. He's got the hook in his pocket. That's going to be all for Sanchez.
Trying to come inside. We talk about a lefty on lefty. You got to be able to throw fastballs in. Obviously, he didn't try to do that. He stayed away, stayed away. That ball nearly went behind him.
Well, Team USA fans with something to be excited about here in Miami tonight, as they have forced Sanchez from the mix in favor of right-hander Nelson Figueroa, yet to allow a run in World Baseball Classic competition this year. He did not pitch last night versus Venezuela, but pitched scoreless relief against Team USA here Saturday night. He gets Mark DeRosa with 2 runners aboard, a run in and 2 gone in the third.
Well, and, you know, we've talked about the health issues with the U.S. lineup, but also it's another reason they've got all the left-handers in there, because you know they're going to have to go to the bullpen and bring in right-handed pitching. So it takes a little bit of the advantage as you go deeper in the ballgame for the U.S. McCann, you're going to have Jimmy Rollins, obviously a switch hitter, but you have Dunn now. He'll get a chance to face right-handers from the left side of the plate. It just works out a little bit deeper for them in that sequence.
And at any time in this game, do or die, any stretch of a lead really applies a lot of pressure to not only the defense but that pitcher, and making sure it's imperative getting ahead, expanding, using all your pitches, which is exactly what Nelson Figueroa has done his whole career. He's a guy that, you know, didn't have great stuff. He's in that upper 80 velocity range, big curveball, slider, change, 4-pitch pitcher. Can't say enough about applying pressure, getting those early runs, get a lead.
And DeRosa yanks a breaking ball into the corner. That's a fair foul ball in left, and not by much. Maybe half a foot. Psych. Never mind.
Sit back down.
And it's still 1-2 to Mark DeRosa.
Well, he got a hanging breaking ball there. You were talking about not overpowering stuff. The thing for Figueroa, he's got to go ahead and use his defense to get guys out. He's not going to trick a whole lot of guys, but he'll use his defense.
Brooklyn kid, grew up in Coney Island, big Mets fan, played for several major league teams. It's smart. You know, when you know what your stuff is, Nelson, you got to really be conscious of hitting your spots and locating.
Well, he's got
a cross up right there.
How about that? Giovanni Soto not looking for a fastball there.
Well, you knew they were in trouble after they had a bunch of signs shook off. And when you go through a sequence of numbers and you're shaking off, pretty soon you're going to find yourselves in territory where nobody knows what's coming.
Just see Soto used his bare hand. Watch how he uses his throwing hand. That could be trouble, boy. And that's the last thing anybody wants to see. There have been enough minor injuries on a couple of these teams to have big league clubs concerned. There's the 2-2 home, and it's a full count now as that one gets away from Soto in earnest.
So he uses bare hand.
And that'll likely be charged as a wild pitch to Nelson Figueroa. Runners at second and third with 2 gone.
See, I still think this is a little bit of a cross-up. I mean, even though he was looking for the breaking pitch, you can see Soto here that's a ball he should handle, and he normally would handle. A little more break on it than anticipated. So these two got to get it together, maybe be able to get an out of this thing.
Well, also part of it is if you don't have a rapport with each other, catcher, he may have only seen Figueroa a few times.
Got him to chase a fastball off the plate and struck out DeRosa to retire the side. The U.S. adds 1 on the Youkilis home run, and at the end of 3, it's 3-1 Team USA. Keep up with all the latest World Baseball Classic news and stats. Visit worldbaseballclassic.com. You'll also find the largest selection of authentic World Baseball Classic items for all 16 countries. worldbaseballclassic.com. Including a couple of extra small t-shirts we'll be bringing back for a certain colleague at MLB Network on Friday. Ivan Rodriguez leads things off in Puerto Rico's 4th. Rodriguez, Beltran, and Delgado. Ted Lilly working with now a 2-run advantage after the solo shot by Kevin Youkilis. (1-0) to Pudge. DHing tonight is fouled away, 1-1.
So that ball is in just enough. The pitch that Alex Rios deposited in the seats. It's clear Ted Lilly's a guy that likes to throw inside for called strikes, stand-up righties, and then that gives that big curveball. Much more effective result as he did with Carlos Beltran in his first at bat. Pound inside like that opens up the outside part of the plate.
But I'm telling you, they had last half inning, Puerto Rico had Ted Lilly on the ropes, and they've given him a chance to breathe, and now the bullpen has been stretched to get ready. They got Joel Hanrahan up in the bullpen now, and he's going to get to his pitch count. But last inning, they had him on the ropes, and it affects the whole rest of the game.
Whew. Well, in an ideal world, as it's now 2-2 to Pudge Rodriguez, in an ideal world for Davey Johnson and Marcel Latchman, they finished this 4th with Lilly. He's made 53 pitches, so there's still plenty of ceiling room on his 85 pitch count, or limit, I should say. And here he is on 2-2 to Rodriguez.
Well, the strength of this pitching staff, and certainly Ted Lilly, Roy Oswalt, Jake Peavy, front end star players. But I know, having been on the 06, they have 10 relievers, who include Jeremy Guthrie, so J.P. Howell and
Joel Hanrahan.
You basically, Davey Johnson's got a pick of basically 8 closers, 6 closers. So if it's a matter, you talk about mixing and matches for each one of those guys to be able to pitch an inning.
Well, it's a nice luxury because they're used to coming out of the pen, but again, they haven't thrown in normal routines, so they're still all not quite sharp. Last game U.S. played, they were working in rotations of 5. Those 5 guys that threw the last game had not pitched in 5 or 6 days against an opponent. So I'm feeling like this may be the same situation that these guys are in right now.
Next offering home to Pudge, and that misses for ball 4. 3rd walk by Ted Lilly tonight. A reminder, coming up later this evening, don't miss more great live World Baseball Classic action presented by IBM when Japan battles Korea. That's tonight at 11 Eastern, right here on MLB Network. Live WBC action from Petco Park in San Diego. Marcel Latchman wants to know if Hanrahan is ready.
Well, I'll tell him, go get him now. If you're watching Ted Lilly, last inning he scuffled. He just walked the leadoff guy. He's struggling right now. He's just trying to find it. And now you're going to the heart of this order. I know they'd love to get Delgado and have him match up against lefty-lefty, but you may not get there.
Carlos Beltran struck out in the first, looking at a big breaking ball on a full count pitch from Ted Lilly. Lilly starts him here with a fastball for a strike. Rodriguez off first, and there's that breaking pitch again. It's quickly 0-2 to Carlos Beltran.
See that big hook right there. He struck out Beltran looking in his first at bat. He has not thrown enough of those. And to your point, Harold, he's been throwing a little backdoor cutter, missing, and his fastball has been erratic enough in the zone. But that curveball is nasty. Tight spinning, 12-6 rotation. Throw it again.
No need.
Got him looking. Beltran down on 3 pitches.
He's not too happy about that call either. He thought that ball was outside.
At the effectiveness of a big slow curveball, to honor it, this is a backdoor cutter, perfect, and that's the intention of it. You have a hitter that's conscious of inside because Lilly has shown to the right hitters that he's not afraid to stand them up, throws the big hook, and now that backdoor cutter, your whole intention is to be missing 3-6 inches off the plate corner. If you miss with it, you come back and bounce a curveball or throw a high fastball.
So now it's Carlos Delgado with 1 out and 1 on.
Now they're sitting right where they wanted to be. They got the left-handed matchup, and if he gets himself in trouble, you got the right-hander to face Rios. So they're sitting pretty right now.
Delgado lined to left in his first at-bat tonight.
Well, you know, see Carlos Delgado wearing number 21 in Puerto Rico, that is a big thing. He actually had a meeting with the Clemente family. They said they'd be honored if Carlos wore the number 21, which is Roberto Clemente's number. And on the island of Puerto Rico, obviously, if you don't know the story of Roberto Clemente, he died taking goods to Nicaragua on a mission to help people. And he is an icon on the island of Puerto Rico, not just baseball-wise, but for his humanitarian work. And so they feel that even though Jackie Robinson's number 42 is retired in Major League Baseball across every team, to have 21 and wear that as a symbol for any player who comes off the islands is a major deal. And they gave Carlos permission to wear it.
Meanwhile, the wild pitch advances Pudge Rodriguez to second, so a chance for Delgado to drive in a run with a base hit now. Runner at scoring position with 1 gone. Again, Delgado has cooled off a bit since the 5-for-6 start in the World Baseball Classic. He has won for his last 8 since the tournament moved here to Florida. What's that I was saying about cooling off?
I was saying that he's done.
All back to even. 2-run shot for the ex-Marlin who enjoyed his brief stay here in South Florida. And he has now officially enjoyed his return with Team Puerto Rico.
Wow, Matt. It's a bomb to dead center. He got a fastball and he finished it nicely. The Clemente family is awfully proud. But Al, you can see it coming. Lilly's been scuffling the whole time. He got him a fastball right there. And Carlos has not been the same hitter since the second half of the season last year.
Certainly not the second guess, but in a game like this that looked like it was going to be Lilly's last at bat, the danger of throwing inside to a home run hitter like that. If you miss, it's a home run. You miss away, maybe double, base hit left field.
The end of Ted Lilly's night comes 3 1/3 into it. Enter Joel Hanrahan. We'll be right back. Well, the long ball has accounted for all 3 of Team Puerto Rico's runs tonight. Alex Rios with a solo shot. Carlos Delgado with a 2-run home run. That spells the end of the night for Ted Lilly. Enter Washington Nationals right-hander Joel Hanrahan, who pitched a scoreless inning against Team Puerto Rico on Saturday. Alex Rios not among those to have faced Hanrahan Saturday night.
Not a lot of people know about this young man. He's got great stuff. Mid-90 fastball, nasty slider like that right there.
Takes care of Alex Rios on 3 pitches, and there are 2 away.
Picked up a cutter. He's just outstanding with his stuff.
Ted Lilly, 3 1/3 tonight, guys. He allows just 2 hits, both of them home runs, as you take a look at the strikeout pitch again to Rios.
Ball dropping like a split, but as Harold says, that's a tight spinning slider. Big difference there. We mentioned 62 pitches, 35 strikes, 27 balls. Just erratic enough to not be in good counts, and not, I think, not use his curveball as much as he probably would have liked it, because he's got a very good curveball.
And sometimes that comes with somebody knowing you and calling for that pitch also.
You know, for Team USA, as Giovanni Soto lays off to make it 1-1, their starting staff, guys, in the World Baseball Classic have amassed an ERA near 7. That has been one of the problems for the American squad. And quite frankly, that was one of their problems back in 2006.
I got a pitching question for you. You know, I'm thinking back to Ted Lilly, not throwing as many breaking balls. Twofold question. One, is it maybe he doesn't want to show other people that hook? Or 2, is your arm in shape to throw that pitch enough?
You know, that's a good question, because I always thought in spring training I was trying to build up my arm strength to get my velocity to regular season velocity, whatever that was. A given year, was it 90 or 93? So that's what you're concerned about, and command. But in order to throw a good curveball, and he had a good curveball tonight, you have to have very good arm speed and be able to spin the baseball. I don't think it's the former Harold. These guys know him. There's a lot of history. Pudge Rodriguez and Beltran, Delgado. I just think, you know, sometimes when you have 4 pitches, sometimes you forget to use it. You mentioned it. You know, Brian McCann hasn't worked with him. Maybe, you know, you just kind of get locked in a sequence. That's a great slider from Joel Hanrahan.
Full count now to Giovanni Soto, 3 balls and 2 strikes. A 3-3 tie. Team Puerto Rico batting in the top of the 4th. Bases empty with 2 gone. Lays off the slider that time to work ball 4.
You know, we talk about the Americans shortstop situation with Rollins and Jeter trying to figure out time. These guys have 3 catchers. Pudge Rodriguez, Yadier Molina, and this young man right here, Giovanni Soto, all looking to get some playing time. And now that Pudge has got a job with the Houston Astros, you know, maybe they start working the other 2 young guys back in. But everybody's got to report to their team in about 2 weeks anyway. Tough to work that.
Here's Andy Chavez now with the runner aboard and 2 gone, as a fastball misses the corner.
I was talking to Brian Roberts around the cage, and he had a great first night with Team USA, and I asked him how many at-bats that he had leading up to this. He said about 20 or 24 ABs.
Yeah.
Which really wasn't that much. I was surprised. I thought it would have been more.
Yeah, I did too.
Into foul territory and out of play, out of reach for Adam Dunn.
You know, as a whole, spring training now is longer, and because of that, teams are playing like 6, 7, 8 more games because of that. So, and I think with that in mind, a lot of the teams, these are now regular clubs in their respective spring trainings, that they're taking their, especially their everyday guys, a little slower. And Brian Roberts was talking about a couple games he'd have an at bat or 2 and take them out of the game and, you know, let the young guys in kind of thing.
Should Gonzalez have success, Iram Bocachica waits next as Hanrahan backs him up again with a slider. 2 balls and a strike.
You know, Al, you're seeing Hanrahan's slider, and he learned that last year from a friend of mine, Matt Kinzer, worked with him and taught him a slider and a cutter. How important was that pitch to you when you started throwing that cutter?
It made my career, Harold. It evolved from Ron Guidry and Dave Righetti's slider to a cutter.
In the air out to shallow right. Roberts read it nicely from second and puts away the Puerto Rican team in the 4th. Not before the Delgado shot can bring it all back to even. Bottom of the 4th, tied at 3. Well, back to even, tied 3 apiece as we go to the bottom half of the 4th. Yes, real hard holding back the smiles. Happy St. Patrick's Day, by the way, to you 2 guys.
Thanks.
too, man.
What you got going on back after the game in honor of St. Patrick's Day? Maybe a little corned beef and cabbage, left-hander?
That would be nice.
Okay.
Tribute to my Irish roots.
Okay, I don't have my green on. Quit pinching me.
That would be a lie, folks.
Ball and no strikes. A count from Nelson Figueroa to Brian McCann. It is McCann leading things off for Team USA here in the 4th, followed by Victorino and Roberts. Brian McCann has really done yeoman's duty against Puerto Rico in not even 2 complete games. Had the lone RBI Saturday and the first RBI of the game here tonight.
Well, his swing is really coming along, and you know, you talk often about how as a player gets older and develops, as you get a good look at the bench right there, Barry Larkin, Euclid, and just everybody trying to figure out the pitchers. But as a player develops and you talk on the bench and you get into this thing, the power comes later. And I see that with McCann. He's starting to learn pitchers. He's learning counts when he should let the bat fly and when he shouldn't. And that's how the power comes. Okay, I got a 2-1 pitch right here. I'm looking for this certain pitch. 3-1, here it is. I'm going to let it fly. And you take those gambles, and pretty soon the power is able to come to guys that have it.
Speaking of which, out to deep right center. Is it deep enough? Beltran goes up. Does he make the catch? Yes, he does! Wow. Carlos Beltran flat took away a solo home run from Brian McCann.
We're seeing some great baseball. You know, Carlos, I've seen this many a time with the Mets. Great timing. And that is beautiful. Yes, that ball would have scraped out of here. Looked and knew exactly where he was at. Timed it. He even had time to look over and see where the other outfielder was. I mean, that's a beautiful play.
That may or may not. I agree with you, Harold. I think it scrapes the top of the fence and gets out, but it would have been close either way. But what a fantastic grab by Carlos Beltran, who was doing it on both sides of your scorecard, folks.
And so smooth. And that last little peak when he got to the warning track was the difference between him knowing where that wall was. Some guys, I think of Devon White over the years, just unbelievable gait. Where it looks like they're barely, minimal effort.
You know, that's work and that's practice, knowing where you're at and how to perform, how to play.
Shane Victorino bounces it to first. Delgado tried a foot race with a very fast man and nearly paid the price. There are 2 gone, however.
Well, that could have been ugly. You had the pitcher and the base runner. So you get a look again at Beltran's great catch.
That's a homer.
3-time Rawlings Gold Glover and perhaps on his way to the All-WBC team at the end of this year's event. So 2 gone now for Brian Roberts. This has almost turned into the, I guess, the Mets South, with Delgado, with Beltran being featured right in the middle of that lineup.
David Wright.
David Wright here on this matchup as well.
Nelson Figueroa last
Right.
year.
Right.
J.J. Putz.
Okay. Enough already.
1-1 the count to Brian Roberts. Roberts once again 3 for 3 in Team USA's win over the Dutch on Sunday. He really sparked the Americans' victory and helped stave off elimination. And we were told, as we take a look at the bullpen for Team USA, we were told that Roberts didn't even really know. That's John Grabo out there, the Pittsburgh Pirate left-hander. That's Matt Thornton out there is who that is, as Roberts lines that into the corner foul.
Yeah, I left hanging on that one, Matt.
Yeah, that's all right. I didn't realize you were just doodling John Grabo's name. Anyway, Brian Roberts didn't have his cell phone with him when he was added to the roster. Left his cell phone behind.
I can't get over
Yeah,
how I left
this story's going to be left hollow. This is welcome to my world. For this kind of blatant ignoring and total disrespect, tune into MLB Tonight, weeknights here on MLB Network. Going to hear Harold and Al ignore my stories and blow me off in general. What a great catch by Carlos Beltran, right, guys?
You'll see that on the show, too.
Uh-huh. Well, after 90 seconds of arguing as to whether John Grabo wore number 37 earlier in the World Baseball Classic or not, it is Matt Thornton who is on in relief of Joel Hanrahan here to start the 5th. Hidam Boca Chica leads things off as Thornton opens the inning on the mound for Team USA.
And he needs a big outing. He has not thrown the ball real well. He's a guy that's usually in the high 90s. And it's been mid 91, 92, right down there in the low 90s, and he's been getting hit pretty hard.
Swing and a miss by Boca Chica to put him behind 0-2. Matt Thornton, prior to Saturday's appearance against Team Puerto Rico, had retired all 5 batters he had faced in the World Baseball Classic. The White Sox left-hander was knocked around pretty good on Saturday against this very opponent. 2/3 of an inning, 4 earned runs on 4 hits, and was the losing pitcher on the mound when the mercy rule was evoked in the 7th. One and 2 from the former Mariner as Boca Chica fouls that one back.
Well, you know, Harold, I think in regard to what's been transpiring with these pitchers, and we had mentioned that the group of 5 that pitched in the game where Puerto Rico mercy ruled the U.S., that was 6 days off, and it's very important for a guy as we in spring training build up arm strength. Matt Thornton's got tremendous velocity. That's a backup cutter slider at 90 miles an hour. He needs to pitch more. All these guys need to pitch more, but get game action.
Tomorrow, get a complete roundup of all the World Baseball Classic action with highlights, analysis, and a look at the tournament's upcoming matches. Don't miss World Baseball Classic tonight. That's tonight, presented by Sprint. Tomorrow at 6:30 Eastern, only on MLB Network. World Baseball Classic tonight, tomorrow at 6:30 Eastern. If you can follow that. We're doing a Groucho Marx bit. Here's Felipe Lopez now with 1 gone. Lopez walked and was caught stealing in the 3rd. As he chases a pitch up, you can see a light rain starting to fall here in Miami. Well, I'll tell you, if these teams are to get out of here tomorrow night with rain playing just minimal interruptions into the proceedings, everybody would consider themselves fortunate, because it's supposed to rain steady tomorrow. Here's the 0-2 home to Lopez. And, you know, we need to revise an earlier statement. We had said earlier tonight that if, in fact, rain plays a big role tomorrow, a winner would be determined by a coin flip. That is not accurate. Tomorrow's game will be played regardless of rain. They'll keep folks here all night if they have to determine a pool winner. Again, the winner tonight advances in the tournament with Venezuela. The winner tonight would play Venezuela tomorrow night to determine who wins the pool. And we had been given inaccurate information before the game. Tomorrow's game will be played regardless.
And the U.S. had to do that up in Canada. They had gone 2-0 and had to play Venezuela, who also was 2-0 at the time, to see who was going to be seeded early on here in this half of the tournament.
Into shallow center. Victorino's under it. And that's the 2nd out for Lindstrom. For Thornton, rather. I'll get that right.
That wasn't my fault, that one. The other was.
Already just watching him, guys, with 2 days off, and that, you know, if there was a silver lining in the mercy game against Puerto Rico, was that Marcel Latchman, the pitching coach, and Davey Johnson were able to get these guys in the game. Hanrahan, scoreless inning. John Grabo was in that game. Heath Bell. Now here Matt Thornton.
0-1 the count to Mike Aviles. Aviles is hitless 0 for 2 so far, and hitless against Team USA here in Pool 2, 0 for 5 against the Americans. You know, we mentioned it kind of as an aside last time Aviles was at the plate, but Al, we didn't get a chance to get your thoughts on it. I think that it's such a nice story to have come from this year's World Baseball Classic that Sidney Ponson has gotten a contract now. Pudge Rodriguez has got his 1-year deal. talents being showcased, and people in baseball are paying attention, and we don't have time to talk about it again. Still tied at 3. Tied at 3 as we've reached the bottom of the 5th. 3 runs on just 2 hits for Puerto Rico. Home runs have been the weapon du jour for Team Puerto Rico tonight. 3 runs on 5 knocks for the Americans. And it'll be to Derek Jeter, Jimmy Rollins, and Kevin Youkilis to lead things off against Nelson Figueroa, who has retired all 4 batters he's faced since coming on in relief of starter Jonathan Sanchez.
Tell you what, it's absolutely amazing when you watch a game that Derek Jeter's in. Played the other day. The crowd went crazy. Everywhere he goes, he is a big draw for Major League Baseball.
Into foul territory. Rios gliding over, and it's out of play.
And you're surprised?
I'm not. Yeah, I am in a way.
Really?
I mean, I'm in New York, so you see it all the time. But across the country, it's amazing the impact that he has had. Now, I know he's one of the most popular figures in the game. He's got a lot of national commercials and endorsements. He carries himself fantastic, but it's nice to see. You don't know. I mean, the other day, Puerto Rico and Venezuela were playing, and people were going crazy when they saw Derek Jeter warming up MVP for the game before. I mean, it was pretty cool.
Ball and 2 strikes. The count to Jeter.
Fastball, perfect corner, knee high. Nice pitch from Figueroa. This is what he does. In and out, uses his speed. He'll throw any pitch at any count. And he's got to be on the corners like that. Because at 87, 88 miles an hour, it's more than enough to get major hitters out, but you got to create some doubt for the hitter to think that you may throw something out.
I have to say that I think this is the most accurate transmitting of velocity I've ever seen in a stadium. You know, we're watching that pitch speed board out there, and we're getting mid-80s. There have been a number of guys who've been in the low 90s in this event so far, but it's, you know as well as I do, come big league baseball time, those velocities get ratcheted up because they want to give fans a little show. There aren't many guys throwing 98.
Yeah, to your point right there, 86 miles an hour to the great Derek Jeter, jams him. It was about the movement. But yeah, a lot of the stadiums, you know, they jack it up to make it seem, you know, I think to make it be more impressive if guys could throw 99, 100 miles an hour.
Oh, it'd be great. Nobody, I sit there amazed how many guys are coming in and out of the bullpen throwing that hard. He's having a great at-bat, though. You know, I'm starting to really see great signs for the U.S. team. If they can get through, I think the offense is really going to start to come on.
Swing and a miss. Just challenged him with a 3-2 fastball, and Jeter strikes out. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the World Baseball Classic Incorporated and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent.
So much for that great at-bat.
I mean, how many times you see Derek Jeter miss a middle-in fastball 88 miles an hour? Here's Jimmy Rollins now with 1 gone. Rollins has walked, stolen a base, and bounced into a double play tonight. Rollins has also homered, and speaking of home runs, this was the home run yesterday that was disputed in the Venezuela-Puerto Rico game. It took a hard bounce back onto the field, and they took a good long look at it and finally called it a home run, part of the shutout win for Venezuela.
Yeah, but I thought it was interesting, as you and Al were talking about, that they didn't use the replay. Talking about
the 0-2 to Rollins is low, and it's 1-2.
You're right.
Well, it took quite a while for them to finally figure out, without use of replay, that was a home run. And Rollins is hit by the pitch.
So breaking ball, back foot, no, front foot.
That hurts.
That's a laser slider, can't get out of the way.
Right on the toe.
Figueroa showing good movement, locating his fastball. He's got a good breaking ball. Anytime you're, as a pitcher, you're ahead 0-2, 1-2, you never want to hit the guy, especially Jimmy Rollins. He'll be at second base here few pitches.
Here's Kevin Youkilis now with 1 out and 1 on. Youkilis sent a solo shot into the left field stands in the third. 3 of his 6 hits rather in the World Baseball Classic have been home runs.
I tell you, he's one of the great hitters in the game. I don't think he gets a whole lot of credit. You know, a lot of people talked about Pedroia, and deservedly so, he's MVP. But if he wasn't, I think this guy deserved to be the MVP last year in the American League. He had an incredible season. Gold Glove first baseman. Mike Lowell goes down. What do? You move him to third and say, go ahead and handle third base for us. And he does a great job over there. And then the offense speaks for itself. He's one of the elite players in the game. And I think we're just starting to get into those fruitful years for him.
And a gamer. A gamer. This guy is grit. Just old school. Play the game right. Eddie Rapuano, longtime Major League umpire.
Jimmy's got a great lead. Look at that lead right there. You always want to try to get to the cut of the dirt if you can, and diving back is a perfect lead if you can get back on it.
Youkilis sends a drive out to center. This is playable for Beltran, and 2 gone.
Well, here, I don't like this play right here. I know a lot of people are teaching this, but now you keep Youkilis from rounding the bag. If Jimmy Roll, if he drops the ball, where are you going? You're not going to outrun Carlos Beltran. You may as well go halfway, let Youkilis come around the bag like he's supposed to, and if he drops it or anything happens, you move on. I just don't think that's a good play in that situation.
Here's David Wright now. Wright has walked, scored, stolen a base, and singled.
From the angle from where Jimmy Rollins, if that's further left center, you know, the intention is to go back, maybe you could tag up.
Yeah, and how many times does that happen? I just don't think it's a good play. And you know, obviously Jimmy Rollins can do it because he's a major league player who's going to steal you an X amount of bags. But I see that in the college game. I see it in minor league baseball, and I see it with slow runners. It ain't happening. Get halfway, and if the guy drops it, you move up properly. I just don't think it's a good play.
Adam Dunn due up next. It seems redundant to even say it when you're talking about a veritable all-star lineup like the one both of these teams have on the field tonight. But, you know, there's a run-scoring part of the lineup on deck at every turn.
Right.
It's not like you have only 1 or 2 shots to score runs with these all-star teams out there.
That's what makes this fun.
Rollins stays put, and there's a strike from Figueroa, 0-1.
And I think if I'm scouting and you look at a Sidney Ponson or Pedro Martinez or even a Figueroa, you know, when you're going against that type of a lineup and the pressure, obviously it gives you a better grading, something to grade them by because they are going against tough lineups, and that's nice to be able to, to grade that out.
I mean, when we saw Sidney Ponson, he went 5 innings, 2 hits, 2 runs against, you talk about a good lineup. The Venezuelan team, all-stars, Abreu, Cabrera, Aguilar, Ordonez. They got him a job.
Both bullpens are hot at this juncture. We're in the bottom of the 5th with 2 gone, a runner at first, a 1-1 count to David Wright. Rollins stays put again, and a slider swung on and missed.
Talk about the unpredictable repertoire of Nelson Figueroa. First pitch, fastball right there for David Wright. Takes it, see what he's got, movement, velocity. Gets it a good count, throws a curveball.
Well, they're probably thinking the same thing I am. They're surprised Jimmy Rollins is still sitting around. Now, you got to remember, he may not feel like he is fully in explosive shape yet to steal bags. Now, he's already stolen a couple, but you have to really get a feel for it like everything else that you do on the diamond.
And David Wright with a defensive swing just to stay alive in the plate appearance. It stays 1-2. Jose Oquendo has a double barrel working in his bullpen. He's got Javier Lopez and Ivan McDonald up. Heath Bell is up for Team USA. First base runner to reach against Nelson Figueroa was Rollins, an at-bat ago when he was hit by the pitch. And a little larger lead. There he goes. The pitch to right is bounced to third, and it's a foul ball.
Now, when you say explosion for Jimmy Rollins, you're talking about timing of what the pitcher's doing, or just getting your legs underneath it?
Your legs underneath it. I'm talking about his crossover step. Anytime that you're going to steal a bag, your first 2 steps are the key if you're going to make it or if you're going to be thrown out. And that's that crossover step. And oftentimes, until you really are used to running and having your legs centered underneath you, believe it or not, mentally you don't get a good read, and you just don't have that confidence. Normally, Jimmy Rollins, season form, he's gone by now.
47 bags last year.
You know,
this guy's a base stealer.
Yeah, he's been sitting there for 2 hitters. He'd have been gone a long time ago. So he's still trying to figure it out also. Figueroa's an easy read. He's got a high leg kick, right-handed hitter, pitcher, I mean. Easy read.
And Wright sends this foul into the stands.
But it comes down to comfort. And I just don't think he's quite comfortable yet.
Next pitch will be the 40th of the appearance for Nelson Figueroa.
Wow.
I mean, for a guy that's allowed all of 1 base runner in 2+ innings, he has had to work deep into counts like this one. This will be the 7th pitch of the at-bat to David Wright. Both bullpens reduced to standing and watching the action. And the next 1-2, there goes Rollins again. Wright lays off. Soto's throw is not in time. And Jimmy Rollins has his 2nd bag of the night, his 3rd of the World Baseball Classic.
Well, he gets again, Figueroa is a great guy to run on. This is a fastball up that a catcher's already set up anticipating the throw, and Jimmy makes it easy because the high leg kick, and he steals this bag off the pitcher. He's looking in, he's still trying. He did so many things wrong for him that he'll look back on it and go, man, that was a bumpy ride, but he made it easy.
And Wright on a breaking ball lifts a fly ball into shallow right. Lopez squeezes it to retire the side. We played 5 complete. Puerto Rico and the U.S. tied 3 apiece. We send it now to the MLB Network studios for an MLB Tonight update with Greg Amsinger. Thanks, Greg. Back in Miami, a 3-3 ball game as Heath Bell takes over to work the top of the 6th inning. He'll get Pudge Rodriguez, Carlos Beltran, and Carlos Delgado. Bell worked an inning on Saturday night against Team Puerto Rico and allowed a run, facing the same part of the order. The new San Diego Padres closer goes to work in the 6th. Ted Lilly started for Team USA, went 3 1/3. Joel Hanrahan pitched. Matt Thornton worked an inning scoreless, and now Bell in the 6th.
Had his 74 games last year in San Diego. You got a chance to see him quite a bit, Matt.
Explosive stuff. A guy who pitches with urgency. He's got the closer's mindset.
You know, that's the key. The closer's mindset. Are you able to pitch that 9th inning, give up a run, lose a game, and still be able to come back? And that's the difference. You know, it's a lot of guys can go the 7th and 8th inning, but that 9th inning, they just can't seem to be able to handle it mentally.
No parachute.
He's not a real comfortable at bat. He throws hard, and he's a little herky-jerky too. He's just uncomfortable enough.
I played with. He was in some big league camps with the Mets, and you watch a guy on the side. He's got, as you said, Matt, explosive stuff.
And he loses Pudge Rodriguez for ball 4. I think it's difficult, and you know, I actually spoke to Heath Bell yesterday about this, and he told me I was nuts and that I was totally wrong, but I'll throw it to you, Al. For a guy who's used to pitching late in games, whether you're the 8th inning setup guy or the closer, spring training, exhibition play, international plays, coming in the 6th inning, this is a different feel for a guy.
Well, I would say that's true But I also know that there's been plenty of closers that would get their work in spring training and do fine with not pitching the 9th inning. Whether it was a game where they just wanted to make sure they got their inning in, or sometimes there's been some closers who needed more than 1 inning that would start a game. I remember Dwayne Ward a few times would actually start the game.
Well, I remember Eck when he was with Dennis Eckersley when he was with Oakland. Tony La Russa would use him in the 2nd inning. But in this situation, Matt, and I have to tend to agree with you in this, in a serious exhibition contest like this, it's a different mindset. It's not closing the game out. I think I have to agree with you. In spring training, you're getting your work in. This counts.
However, I think each player recognizes that you're part of an all-star team and you know your role on the all-star team.
Well, Carlos Beltran knows his role, and it is to lead on both sides of the scorecard. He's done it offensively, and he took a home run away from Brian McCann in the bottom of the 4th. That's going to be on the all WBC reel by the time this is done.
Smooth.
Well, he plays so easy and effortless. That's a great call on the bunt right there, testing his teammate out.
And David Wright answers the call, but that run moves up 90 feet. Rodriguez to 2nd.
If he's able to push that ball down 3rd base, he'd have been a little better suited. Here's the bunt. See, it's right at David Wright. Had it been down the line and made him go towards the line and then have to throw the ball back across the diamond, he probably would have had a chance to get a base hit. But nonetheless, there's a perfect look. Had it been towards the line, there's no play for David Wright. Not on Beltran right there.
Carlos Delgado now with a runner at 2nd and 1 gone. Delgado has homered tonight. It was a solo shot that came in the 4th. It was a check that 2-run shot that came in the 4th.
You start thinking about putting him on in this situation?
Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, this is go home if you give it up.
Well, you're just playing the percentage here because it's not like Alex Rios is a soft out. He is a right-handed hitter, however, and it's right-handed from here on down for the foreseeable future. Rios, Soto, Gonzalez.
Which is probably the reason why J.P. Howell's not up or John Graybo.
Well, a lot of people are probably saying that, well, that's why Beltran should be swinging in that situation, not bunting him over. I like the bunt in that situation. I think it's, with this type of a lineup, move the runner at 2nd base, put the pressure on the defense, see what happens.
Join us during the regular season when MLB Tonight brings you live nightly coverage of every major league game from the first pitch in the East to the final out on the West Coast. You won't miss a thing with breaking news, live look-ins, highlights, and analysis all night long. MLB Tonight every Monday through Saturday throughout the season right here on MLB Network, our national pastime all the time.
But you would only like Beltran doing that in a lineup where he's got Alex Rios or Giovanni Soto and better players behind him. In a regular season, you want your number 3, 4 guy swinging.
Absolutely. I mean, you got Delgado, potential MVP player. Rios is a breakout star. And then you got Rookie of the Year. Those 3 guys are hitting right behind him. Somebody should be able to drive a run in.
Ball and no strikes to Alex Rios, who has homered tonight and struck out.
But again, on Beltran's bunt, that was not for a sacrifice. That was for a base hit. He missed his spot. Had he put it down the line, we're looking at 1st and 2nd, and the conversation totally different because they're not walking Delgado. Now it's 1st and 2nd, no outs.
Here comes Marcel Latchman to visit with Heath Bell. What an unusual task, and by the way, what a perfect candidate to do this job in Marcel Latchman. I mean, you're taking a group of all-star pitchers, cobbling them together for a very short run. We're taking a look at the home run by Rios, and that's the mistake that Heath Bell doesn't want to make. Fastball middle in. The pitch that Ted Lilly threw him in the 2nd.
Well, a lot like we were talking about with McCann. He got a pitch that he can handle. The power is going to come to these younger guys as they get older and knowledge of the strike zone. But back to your point, Matt, about Marcel Latchman. One of the best pitching coaches in all of baseball. Knowledgeable, and nobody's got more pressure than him to deliver these pitchers back healthy to the teams they came from.
Missing with breaking balls here to make it 3-0 to Alex Rios.
Well, of his first 2 walks, one was intentional. First 2 breaking balls were the last 2 pitches. And a lot of times as a pitcher, when you miss with your fastball, for obvious reasons to slow your body down, you would go to your breaking ball to slow a pitch.
Well, and back to Matt's point, here's a closer coming in the middle of the game. I don't think he pitches like this in the 9th. He's going after guys in the 9th inning. Here's my stuff. I'm challenging you. I dare you to hit it. Looks like he's nibbling. And that's the difference, I think. I could be wrong, but that's what I see.
Angel Scott Shields getting up in the bullpen, perhaps a bit too late as Rios cashes in with an RBI knock up the middle, scoring Rodriguez and pushing Puerto Rico on top by a run.
You know, that goes back to the Beltran play. You know, you force the hand to make them have to walk Delgado and let these guys pick them up. That's a break a ball over the heart of the plate. And he felt, I really think, you know, Al, he's just not challenging guys.
Well, here's a guy, we were talking about Thornton the first night. Tonight he was throwing at 94, 95. Bell throws harder than this 91 that he's showing. This is a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. Matt, you've seen him. He's higher than 90, 91.
Right.
So now he's trying to resort to his second pitch, and, well, the ball was middle of the plate. You can eliminate a fastball if the guy's not plus in velocity above 92, 93. That's a better slider.
Soto swings and misses over the top of it. It's 1-1. Team Puerto Rico has cashed in the very few opportunities they've had with runners in scoring position. Jose Oquendo's lineup is 2 for 2. Delgado at second, Rios at first, and that's in for a strike to make it a ball and 2 strikes on Giovanni Soto.
The other thing too is the rhythm with the catcher. Again, you know, the familiarity with the guy that's behind the plate throwing those fingers down. It looks like he's now starting to see the sign, and here it is. I'm throwing it instead of overthinking.
It's a good point, Harold. Having been in some of these situations where you get a guy. This is similar to an all-star game where the guy doesn't know you, and you see a backup hanging slider. Giovanni Soto couldn't hold up on it. Again, not a pitch where Heath Bell wants as far as location, breaking ball down away from the righty. That you don't want to continue to shake the catcher, because then it becomes an uncomfortable situation. The batter steps out of the box, so you want to rapport for sure.
Well, the other thing I'm seeing is Delgado's at second, way too long. And as a middle infielder, I used to always look at the mannerisms of the base runner. And does he look like he's tipping pitches to me? That's what I would look at. And when a guy is there for that many pitches, and guys are on pitches when they got 2 strikes and they're fouling them back, I would go timeout. Let's maybe adjust our cadence a little bit.
Ball and 2 strikes, and Soto strikes out. The 2 best breaking balls Heath Bell has thrown tonight, Al, have been in the dirt.
You know, well, that's where you want as a pitcher. Slider, see a downward bite, nice break, almost like hand slider. Normally you see a slider, it kind of has that 3 to 7 break as far as a right hand on the hand of the clock. That one went straight down.
We're going to have a pinch hitter. Father Time has stepped out of the Puerto Rico dugout. Bernie Williams. And fans of both Team USA and Team Puerto Rico recognize Bernie being announced here at Dolphin Stadium.
Well, it's the perfect time to let him get an AB. You know, watching Bernie play and move in Puerto Rico the other day was not one of those great sights you wanted to see. It just looked like time had caught up to him.
What? He's been away a couple years.
Well, yeah, let me finish my sentence before you kill me. You know? But I want to see what he can do. He's a switch hitter, so therefore it gives him a nice advantage. I want to see Bernie getting that bat. Thank you. You're welcome.
And it'll be somebody else to face Bernie Williams as Davey Johnson takes the ball from Heath Bell. Puerto Rico has rallied for the go-ahead run here in the 6th. They've got runners aboard and 2 away. And Los Angeles Angels Scott Shields takes over on the mound. one of those snapshot moments with Bernie Williams pinch hitting for Team Puerto Rico. The beloved 40-year-old ex-Yankee with runners at first and second and 2 gone, and the Puerto Rico team having taken a 1-run lead. As Bernie lays off Scott Shields' first offering, it's a ball and no strikes.
Somebody's blowing one of those timeout whistles for you, man.
They're killing me. It's unbelievable. As for Shields, the winningest relief pitcher in Angels history, 41 career victories, coming off one of his best, if not his single best season in 2008. Posted a 2.70 ERA and led the American League in holds with 31.
Hit your fastball, Bernie, right here.
A swing and a miss. It's 1-1.
How hard would that be for you, Harold? A couple years out, playing. He's into music and all that. I imagine he hasn't had a whole lot of ABs to hit the major league arms.
Extremely difficult. It's a tough challenge. It's tough when you're playing every day. Even when you take 3 days off during an all-star break, it's tough to get your timing back.
Bernie's last full season, of course, 2006, meaning he has had experience against Scott Shields, although it's really not heads-up experience that Bernie's tapping into. It's just swinging a bat for the first time in some time.
Well, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Get your fastball and hit it, Bernie, because if he gets into counts where Shields can throw breaking pitches, he's done. So right here, he's got 2-1 count, good hitters count. You got to hopefully have him throw a fastball in your zone where you can handle it.
And the 5-time All-Star lays off a fastball. It's 3-1.
That would be the one thing that you can pick up.
And for Shields, I'm thinking if I was Shields right now, here's a guy who hasn't picked up a bat in a couple years. Not that you have any disrespect or think any lesser of Bernie Williams for what he did in his baseball career, but you're also conscious of him not backlegging you and turning on your heater.
This is an exciting moment. I hope he gets a pitch to swing at. I want to see him swing. Throw him a strike, down and in, see what he can do.
McCann sets up off the corner. Down and in. Hit on the ground to first base. Youkilis picks it up and gets it to Shields covering. And 2 runners are left stranded. Team Puerto Rico does take the lead, however. We go to the bottom of the 6th. It's 5-3 Puerto Rico. Team USA down a run as they go to work in the bottom of the 6th inning against a new pitcher. A couple of changes for Puerto Rico as Ramon Vasquez takes over at third. And it is a double switch, which brings Javier Lopez in on the mound. Javier Lopez pitched against Team USA on Saturday. Did not pitch last night against Venezuela. He only faced 1 hitter Saturday and struck him out. He has not given up a run in an inning and a third in the World Baseball Classic. Adam Dunn leads it off. 2 of the 3 hitters scheduled here swinging from the left side. Thus Jose Oquendo's decision to try to neutralize this big power bat with the southpaw. Adam Dunn has had a great World Baseball Classic. And most recently a home run, part of a 2-for-4 afternoon on Sunday. And he is a biggin.
Well, that you could see why Javier Lopez is so tough on left-handers. Last year with the Red Sox, 182 batting average against right-handers, 311. From the looks of Jose Oquendo's bullpen right now, Javier Lopez is going to face a couple righties here.
Swing and a miss to make it 1-2.
Drop down, sidearm. Enough movement, sneaky fast with that good slider.
I think also a specialty left-hander like this has such a advantage because he's not seen very often. You'll see him once. You know, Adam Dunn may not see this guy again. I don't know if the Nationals play the Red Sox this year in the interleague play or not, but they may not see each other after today for a long, long time.
You know, the left-handed specialty guy, is he's the long snapper of Major League Baseball. As Dunn is punched out looking at a fastball. Or maybe the backup quarterback, you know. He's the guy that comes out there to get the sexy out.
Enough sidearm. You see, he can't pull the trigger. That ball ends up being middle of the plate. Adam Dunn's got to be looking for something other than a fastball. When you have a trick guy like a Javier Lopez, and you know you have to respect that slider going away from you. 87 miles an hour, couldn't pull the trigger. That ball was right down the middle.
Here's Mark DeRosa now playing left field tonight and playing well. He's made a great diving catch early, 1 for 2 with the run scored so far this evening.
Here's where you make up the ground, though. When he drops down, all of a sudden that right-hander gets a great view of him. And now you just talked about the batting averages, the differences. Now that ball, he drops down, and all of a sudden you can pick it up.
And at this velocity, Harold, the breaking ball that's coming into you, it's hittable speed as opposed to the ball lefty on lefty going down and away.
1-2.
Yeah, that split. Normally you see that with lefty specialists, but for last year, as I said, 182, 311. That's enough disparity for a manager to get the right-hander ready.
Fastball stays high. 88 miles an hour that time from Lopez.
Well, because he changes angles on almost every pitch, you throw velocity out.
Yep.
You know, it's deception that is really the key for him.
Full count now, 3-2.
And deception, I mean by the angles, not necessarily this deception in the velocity.
Mark DeRosa, a .310 hitter last year in Chicago versus Southpaws. And Brian McCann, the left-handed hitting catcher, due up next. DeRosa's jammed and on one hop out to shortstop for Aviles, 2 gone. Coming up later tonight, don't miss more great live World Baseball Classic action presented by IBM when Japan takes on Korea. That's tonight at 11 Eastern right here on MLB Network.
I'll tell you what, did you get a chance to see Yu Darvish pitch yet?
I have not. Have not seen any of that bracket.
He is filthy. Yeah. Did a nice little breakdown tape on him sitting back there at the network. But he's got just repeats his delivery. Very difficult to pick up. He's fun to watch.
And he wants to stay in the Japan League. He's been.
Carlos Beltran might want to stay right here in South Florida the way he's playing. And it's worth another look. The home run robbing grab against Brian McCann in the 4th. And in a 1-run game, you don't need us to tell you that's a pretty big play because McCann takes a strike.
Yeah, and you know, and that conversation I was talking about how the power comes. He got himself into a 3-1 count, got a pitch to drive. You know, I can look for this young man in the next few years in Atlanta to really continue to put some big power numbers up. It's a great ballpark. He's on a tremendous team. He's around good hitters, good coaching. Terry Pendleton, the hitting coach there, Bobby Cox, the manager, but also playing with Chipper Jones. And when you have a guy that can tell you, sit on certain pitches and certain counts, and you're able to hit in that group and you learn from those guys, it pays off.
3 balls and a strike to Brian McCann. And again, just to bring fans up to speed, if you're joining us late, the Team USA roster depth is significantly challenged tonight. McCann squares up and sends a ball to dead center for Beltran again. This one not quite as flashy. He makes more of the routine play to retire the side. We're heading to the 7th. Puerto Rico on top of Team USA 4-3. A 1-run ball game. Puerto Rico on top of Team USA 4-3. Scott Shields will continue in the top of the 7th. Iram Boca Chica leads things off. He'll be followed by Lopez and Aviles. 4 runs on just 3 hits for Puerto Rico. 3 runs on 5 hits for Team USA. This is elimination night. Loser goes home. The winner plays Venezuela tomorrow to determine pool rankings. And a little sawed-off liner out to Youkilis that's handled without problem. Well, your game recap. Alex Rios started it with a home run in the Puerto Rico second. Kevin Youkilis answered with a home run for Team USA. It was at one point a 3-1 game for the Americans until Carlos Delgado's 2-run shot. Carlos Beltran helped keep it that way with a fine running grab. And then the RBI single by Alex Rios in the 6th. That made it 4-3, and that's where we stand in the 7th. Felipe Lopez now with one gone. Scott Shields, guys, and we didn't really have a chance to expand on him, and we did not see him pitch here on Saturday night, is perhaps as close to Iron Mike Marshall as the game may have these days. And a fly ball into center for Victorino. There are a number of resilient relievers in the game right now, and Shields, perhaps for me, is at the top of that list.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I mean, we were talking about with Heath Bell about being a setup guy to. There you see. Help me out with that.
Well, that's the Bat Boy, a tribute to a Bat Boy there, who they call the Lou Brock of Bat Boys in Puerto Rico. He's a 62-year-old man. His real name is Jose Martinez, and so that's a salute back to him. He couldn't make it over here to the World Baseball Classic, so he's been around the winter leagues, around all these players, and that's a salute to him. They call him Lou Brock back in Puerto Rico.
And Canales.
1-1 to Mike Aviles, and Shields gets him to fly out to right. But let's continue talking about Shields when we come back.
Okay.
The quickest of 1, 2, 3, 7.
USA! USA!
Well, New York Mets night continues for Team Puerto Rico here in Miami. 4-3 Puerto Rico, back with Al Leiter and Harold Reynolds, Matt Vasgersian, and Pedro Feliciano takes over on the mound. And Met property against Philly property as Shane Victorino leads off the U.S. 7th.
Well, I'm sure Victorino's familiar with facing this guy before, and you always like the comfort of the matchup.
Feliciano starts his rival with strike 1.
Matt, Al, are we forgetting another Matt?
We are. Alex Cora.
Oh, man, that's a new addition.
It's a lot.
That is a lot.
How do you say, Harold, you speak a little Spanish. How do you say meet the Mets in Espanol?
I don't know, meet the Mets.
You speak littler Spanish than I thought.
Yeah, you got me there.
Feliciano last year in 86 games, a 4.05 ERA, speaking of resiliency. And there's a knock back up the middle for Shane Victorino. Make Victorino 2 for 3 tonight.
Well, that's that familiarity. When you see a guy before, Victorino, I'm sure, has faced him a few times. Got a nice fastball, drove it right back up the middle. Play for the tie at home, the win on the road.
Back to the top of the order, Brian Roberts. Well, that base hit represents quite a leap for Shane Victorino, because with all that familiarity, he had only been 1 for 14 against the Met left-hander prior to that base hit. Tying runs aboard for Team USA.
Well, you got the third baseman drawn in. The infielders are playing double play depth. And you got switch hitting Brian Roberts. Now the U.S. is the home team, so they're playing to get that 1 run pushed up. Get back to the top of the order. Now oftentimes you may show 1 pitch, and all right, now you got a favorable count. They may throw a hit and run on. I think you just stay with the bunt. If you're going to bunt, you bunt. If you're not, then you don't.
Roberts is bunting, and he puts down a beauty. Tying run moves into scoring position with 1 away.
And the reason I say that is because a lot of times as the bunter, you go to the plate with the mindset that I'm looking to place the ball down. This is a perfect bunt. And you're looking to, you know what you want to do with the bunt. And all of a sudden you see the sign change, and then it's like, uh-oh, I'm swinging here. What am I doing? And all of a sudden the game speeds up for you. And that's why a lot of guys end up swinging and missing on a hit and run or popping a pitch up.
Derek Jeter now with the tying run at second base. Jeter 1 for 3 tonight. 1 for 6 against Team Puerto Rico here in Miami. And fans of Team USA as loud as they've been throughout the night.
Well, you got the part of your order you want coming up. Nobody more clutch than Derek Jeter, and then Jimmy Rollins is on deck. I'm sure he's had some at-bats against Feliciano also.
Well, this is the matchup time of the game, and there's a right-hander warming up for Jose Oquendo and the Puerto Rican team. Pedro Feliciano, like Javier Lopez, much tougher against left-handers, specialty lefty.
Well, you said it too, Al. 2007, left-handers hit 168 against him. Last year, just over 200. And this is where some of the versatility of Davey Johnson's lineup pays off. You got the switch hitter Roberts, who was able to bunt against him. Jeter now, switch hitter Rollins up next. The 1-1 home. And it's 2 balls and a strike to Derek Jeter.
You know, and the other thing that plays in, guys, is that Feliciano's got to get his work in, too. I mean, sometimes that plays into it. But I think also you don't want to put Rollins on the left side of the plate. That's where the power's been. That's where he's had the most hits in this WBC. You want to leave him on the right side of the plate.
Victorino, the tying run at second. 1 gone in the 7th inning as Jeter shoots that one foul.
Yeah, just having, I know what you're saying, Harold, having faced Jimmy, boy, he's a better left-handed hitter because they see more right-handed pitchers. But for Jimmy Rollins, he's got very good pop from the right side.
Oh, I agree. I mean, he's as good as anybody from both sides of the plate. Well, all these guys, Victorino, Roberts, Rollins, you don't get to this level unless you can hit from both sides of the plate.
Boy, I think Soto wanted that inside. And Feliciano missing badly to Jeter to make it a full count, 3-2. Feliciano, the 4th Puerto Rico pitcher to work tonight. Jonathan Sanchez started and went 2 2/3. Nelson Figueroa was strong. Javier Lopez pitched 1, 2, 3 in the 6th. The 3-2 to Jeter. Ball 4. But Feliciano missing badly with fastballs for ball 3 and 4, and now he's got 2 runners aboard for Rollins.
Well, this is decision time. You know, you got the catcher Soto going out and stall a little bit. Now Delgado is going to go to the mound and have a little conversation. They're giving that bullpen enough time to get ready if they need to, and they're not going to make that move yet. They're going to bring a pitching coach out and have a little conversation.
Well, the bullpen is hot with Saul Rivera and Fernando Cabrera.
Cabrera's their closer.
I think they're in a tough situation here. Unless Jimmy Rollins hits a bullet at somebody, you're not getting a double play ball. And with Euclid sitting on deck, that's why the bullpen's getting ready. They don't want to flip Jimmy Rollins to the left side. They want to leave him on the right side. This will be his last hitter.
Yes.
Secret Weapon's on the phone. He wants to make sure his bullpen is in fact hot. Here's Rollins. After Rollins, it's Kevin Youkilis who has homered tonight. Rollins keyed the win on Sunday against the Dutch. 2 for 4 with 2 runs batted in, including a home run. He has been on base in 2 of his 3 plate appearances tonight. That's out to right field for Rios. Victorino stays put at second, and there are 2 gone. And now Victorino's trying to break for third. The ball came back and hit somebody in the shin, and Victorino took off.
He hit the base runner. That's why he knew the ball was wild. Rio just doing what he's supposed to do, throw the ball nice and low on line. Nobody was going to advance. And now you're going to get a little bit of an argument. This reminds me of the old Reggie Jackson play in the World Series when we were youngsters. Remember when they were turning the double play and he shuffled his body at it and knocked the ball wild? But I don't think Victorino did that in this case.
I don't either. That was a well-thrown ball from Alex Rios. I don't think he could get out of the way.
Mike Aviles, the shortstop, was very demonstrative, trying to claim that Victorino kicked it. Let's see what happened here.
He let it hit him. No doubt about that.
He did not make an effort to get out of the way.
He doesn't have to.
It's he kind of spun into it, right? Ooh.
Oh, he stuck that leg on it.
After further review.
Gamesmanship, right? Gamesmanship is what we're talking
well,
about.
Now they're coming out there with that's the interpreter. He's going to interpret for the other umpires.
Again, on this international crew, you have Ed Rapiwano, who's the crew chief, and Mark Wegner from the States. Masato Tomiyos, who's been an umpire in Japan in the Central League since 1978, and Luis Ramirez, a former Mexican League umpires coordinator. So it is a very distinguished group of officials.
If you're thinking about replay, now remember, Major League Baseball only uses replay on home run calls, not on a play such as this. And so therefore the umpires do not have this at their discretion to say, yeah, well, maybe he did stick that leg out and bump it a little bit.
Well, this call will stand. Jose Oquendo's coming out and he's going to make a move, but he is also trying desperately to get the attention of Luis Ramirez, the first base umpire. And that's going to be all for Pedro Feliciano. Controversy and a pitching change with the U.S. rallying, trailing by a run. Now Shane Victorino right in the middle of the controversy as he takes an extra base on a throw in from the outfield. It's scored as a tough luck error to Alex Rios. Enter Saul Rivera, last season with the Nationals, 76 appearances, a 5-6 record out of that Nats bullpen. Biggest at bat of the night for Team USA, and Rivera starts Youkilis with an off-speed pitch. It's worth another look. This was the controversial play that Victorino ended up advancing on. Team Puerto Rico claiming he moved into that ball.
Yeah, he did.
And I guess the replay confirms it. Saul Rivera entered last night's game against Venezuela with runners on and nobody out in the 8th, and retired 3 batters, the last by strikeout. He also faced a batter versus Team USA on Saturday. Good breaking ball swung over the top, and it's 0-2.
Well, it's an excellent play by Soto. You see him talking again to the umpire about, and now they're getting on Victorino like, come on, man, you kidding me? You know you stuck your body in front of that. The advantage of that is he moves to third base and it takes away that nasty ball in the dirt. That great play by Soto to block, but if it gets by him, that's a run.
Oh, the old Sut.
You like that one?
It's the old Rick Sutcliffe play. Fake to third, fake to first.
Keeps him from going.
And that play works if you're stealing.
I don't mind it.
I think it's a block.
Still 0-2 to Youkilis. You know, Saul Rivera, who, and as we mentioned, it may have confused some folks hearing that he pitched yesterday. There are very specific rules prohibiting pitchers in the World Baseball Classic from being overused. Pitchers cannot go back-to-back days if on the first day they throw 30 or more pitches. And it's, of course, designed to protect guys out there. Not that any manager in these events would do that to a guy in the spring, but just in case, there are rules. Rivera threw less than 30 pitches yesterday, thus he's allowed to come back tonight. And Youkilis rolls over a ground ball. So the Victorino play didn't matter, and Puerto Rico hangs on to their 1-run lead. To the 8th, 4-3 Puerto Rico. Team Puerto Rico still on top by a run, back with Al Leiter and Harold Reynolds, Matt Vasgersian in Miami. The winner moves on and takes on Venezuela tomorrow. The loser is done. It is elimination night here at Dolphin Stadium. Team USA goes to the bullpen for its 6th pitcher of the afternoon, of the evening that is, and he's right-hander J.J. Putz.
And what's the theme tonight? Another Met.
Pudge Rodriguez grounds it to second base, and a fine play at second by Brian Roberts.
Well, he got a great jump on that ball. Tremendous play. Now here's the key. When he dives, he stays low. How often do you see guys dive and they stay high? Look how low he stays on this dive. That's why he's able to make that play right there. Tremendous range, got a great jump on it. But I'm telling you, until you learn how to dive properly, guys over dive a baseball and it ends up in right field. He stays low with the dive. He's able to scoop the ball and takes his time to get to his knees to make the throw. Tremendous play.
Great play.
Pud's already got a job. He's all right.
One gone for Carlos Beltran, who despite an 0 for 3 has been one of Puerto Rico's stars tonight. You know, not having watched a lot of Baltimore Orioles games the last 3 or 4 years, I haven't had a chance to watch as much Brian Roberts live. You know, you see highlights and stuff. He's a fantastic player. I mean, you see exactly why the Orioles made the long-term commitment to him that they did less than a month ago.
And so many clubs were trying to acquire him, particularly the Cubs the last few years.
Complete. Not to make light of a guy that plays hard and old school. I don't know if that's even fair to say, but all the way around. Great plays defensively. He's got some pop. He can run. Gamer.
1-1 to Beltran. This is fouled off to make it a ball and 2 strikes.
You know, Al, I've been watching J.J. pitch now for a little while, the last couple weeks. I'm yet to see that split. Now, is that because he may feel like his arm's not in shape yet?
You know what? And that may be true because the split finger's got a lot of it's violent pitch, especially on your elbow if not thrown properly. And it's all at late fingertip pressure, late. Would obviously split your fingers and get through the baseball. And if he's not there yet, as you've been watching, Harold, that's probably a pitch you want to build up to. There it is.
There it is. First one I've seen.
So from 93, 94 to 85 mile-an-hour split.
They threw it to somebody who's not going to see it this season because they're going to be playing together.
And a nasty one indeed. We're going to show you the Carlos Beltran catch because it's worth another look. Again, in a 1-run game, that is the play of the game so far.
Well, if it's not out of the ballpark, which we thought it probably might be, it's still going to end up resulting in a triple. That's a huge play.
So a 2 gone and the base is empty now. It's Carlos Delgado. Delgado hit one into center field that nobody was going to bring back in the 4th. A 2-run shot against Ted Lilly that signaled the end of the night for the U.S. starter.
Boy, and in both instances, Ted Lilly tried to go inside on Alex Rios for the first run for Puerto Rico, home run, didn't make his spot. And same thing with Delgado. Power guys like that, especially in a close ball game as this game is played out. Really dangerous to miss inside.
The 0-1 from Putz misses low. Well, when Team USA comes to the plate in the bottom of the 8th and they are 6 outs away from elimination tonight, they'll have David Wright, Adam Dunn, and Mark DeRosa. And it's worth reiterating there are only 2 non-starting position players available in this thing. Chris Iannetta, the catcher, and Curtis Granderson. And you know that Davey Johnson wants to avoid a situation where he's blowing out his bench.
Well, particularly Iannetta, who's a catcher. He's going to have him.
Yeah, so they're down to Curtis Granderson.
That's it. If you're wondering about Ryan Braun, it's an injured right side of his rib cage. At least that's what it's listed as technically. Another good split that swung on and missed.
Yeah, he's starting to come around now. He did not feature that pitch at all in Canada. And even the first night against this club, he had not thrown it. That thing is dropping about 6 inches, 8 inches. That's nasty.
Throw it again. Go to the well.
I'm throwing it again. He's got bragging rights right now.
2 balls and 2 strikes.
Punches him out and Beltran both. I'll talk to them all year long. Look.
Fastball on the fists.
94. You throw 94, throw that slider he's got, you drop that split in there. Man, I'm telling you, I've been more impressed watching Francisco Rodriguez with Venezuela than when he was with the Angels.
Because of his changeup.
His changeup is the difference maker. And you add this guy to the back end of that bullpen for the Mets. Those are 2 pretty good signs.
Ooh. Struck him out. Indeed, he gets both of his new teammates here in a very difficult top of the 8th. Gets Puerto Rico in order. U.S. still down a run. Well, Puerto Rico has only 3 hits tonight, but the home run has allowed them to reach a 1-run lead over the U.S. here in the 8th. 4-3 Puerto Rico. Loser goes home in the World Baseball Classic tonight from Miami. David Wright will lead things off against Saul Rivera, who continues on the mound for Team Puerto Rico. Wright, Dunn, and DeRosa.
Well, Matt, you made a great point about David Wright in this ballpark. And if he's looking for any kind of a big at-bat, this is the time to have it.
A career .350 hitter. Here, whether it's called Dolphin Stadium as it is currently, back when it was called Pro Player. I don't think he ever hit here when it was called Joe Robbie. Here's a 1-1. Ball and 2 strikes.
You're thinking, aren't you?
Yeah, there was another name for just a short little window.
Quanclone?
No, like Fruit of the Loom Board or something.
You're right. There was another name in the last 10 years. There was another name here. Here's a 1-2 from Rivera.
That is our Ask.com question of the night.
Nice, very nice. Give him a free pop.
What was the other name of Dolphin Stadium?
Not what Davey Johnson and Reggie Smith are worried about right now.
No, they're not too worried about that.
David Wright has seen plenty of Saul Rivera during the regular season. 3 for 12 against the Nationals right-hander. Oh, that one came up and caught Giovanni Soto right in the Steve Yeager protector. It's one that'll come up and get you in the neck.
Looks like he's got a dip in too. It did. Maybe he doesn't. You know,
it's bubblegum, Harold.
No telling. Maybe he doesn't have anything at all.
Here's a 2-2 home to Wright. Fouled away, still 2 balls and 2 strikes.
You can see why Saul Rivera is tough on these right-handed hitters. That's his fastball. And it registered about 86, 88, but it's got a goofy spin. It's not sink, and it sails a little bit in on the righty. He's got a hard slider. It's a tough combination. It's kind of resurrected his career with the Nets.
A base hit. Into what Tony Gwynn used to call a 5.5 hold. Leadoff hitters aboard, and the tying runs at first base to start the home 8th.
Well, he got a slider out instead of coming back with that pitch you were just talking about, and David was able to get around it. You know, he's had a couple good at-bats tonight. The base hit up the middle the first time up, and then that ball right there.
I think he's button.
Yeah, he's button.
Play for the tie.
This is not Reggie Jackson versus Paul Splittorff, but it's the next best thing. Big Adam Dunn tonight is 0 for 2. He's been hit by a pitch and he's punched out twice.
Think he knows this is one of his teammates?
Yeah.
He has faced him as an opponent all of once, hitless in that one chance.
Oh, he went for it too. And that's what he's supposed to do. You want Adam Dunn to let it go. Air it out. Don't hit it on the ground. Try to hit one in the air and hit it in the seats.
Boy, it's got to have some odd spin on it. Look, Middle, high enough up in the zone for most lefties like it down.
Dunn has had a terrific World Baseball Classic. 7 for 13 rather at the start of the night. And he leads Team USA with 17 total bases.
Let's see if this is down. You see the late cut right there. Home plate umpire Mark Wegner.
Little cutter.
They've been down a little, especially where Soto caught it.
Right at first, 2 balls and a strike to Dunn.
He wants this one down too.
On the ground to Delgado to shortstop covering. The relay from Aviles, and Delgado came off the bag. Boy, did Team USA catch a break.
You're not kidding. They got Granderson in the game in a hurry to pinch run, but watch Delgado, the nice pick and spin. He gets back to the bag, and Aviles had plenty of time. He just pulled it. I don't know if he's not on the bag. You know, Carlos tried to walk it off. A lot of first basemen are trying to walk that off and make it look like they had plenty of time. Here's another good look at it. Now let's just watch Delgado. What I mean by walk it off, you try to make the umpire think, hey, I was on the base long enough. And he's got to call him safe. I'm sorry. That's a tough call, but I think you got to call him safe.
I think they made the right call. I agree. Here's Mark DeRosa now, and as Harold mentioned, Curtis Granderson was inserted lickety split to run at first base for Dunn.
Curtis featuring all the colors, red, white, and blue shoes, red, white, and blue patch on the eyes. Patriotic tonight.
Does a lot of stuff with international baseball.
And he really wanted to be involved in this World Baseball Classic because of that. He's gone across the world as an ambassador for baseball.
It's great.
Well, Davey Johnson picking his spots to make his really the one and only move he could make was when and where to insert Granderson, and he chooses the current. He represents the tying run with 1 gone. DeRosa yanks that foul.
It's going to be tough to steal on, too. He's got a nice little slide step, and you know, we saw Soto already throw the ball tonight. I think you got to go ahead, and sometimes you just have to take your swings. Look at Ryan Braun.
And again, Braun, while he stated a desire to play tonight, is obviously being treated with kid gloves. Understandably so, with the sore right side rib cage.
Well, the fact that he's still here, that's promising. He's getting his treatment by the trainers from Team USA.
Yeah, that's nice. I mean, he doesn't have his gloves on or sleeves or anything like that, so you know he's not going to be active. But you're right. Just, you know, the guys love being here. It's a team. They've enjoyed being around each other.
Well, both bullpens are busy at this late juncture. A 1-run game. Last of the 8th. 1 out, 1 on for Team USA. And the Americans have the big Dodger Jonathan Broxton up in the bullpen. Next pitch from Rivera spins DeRosa away and makes it 2-1. J.C. Romero is up in the pen for the Puerto Ricans rather.
I don't think this is a good combination to run in.
And DeRosa with an excuse me swing foul ball. This is going to get out of play, and it's 2-2.
Now how about Curtis Granderson? 20 home runs, 20 triples, 20 double. I mean, unbelievable year he put together last year. Stuff that people had never done before, and he's having to come off the bench. It's kind of depth that they have. Triples, 20 doubles, 20 home runs, over 20 triples, 20 home runs. That's impressive.
And Granderson back in safely. After DeRosa, it's Brian McCann. Team USA has had its opportunities with the leadoff hitter aboard. This is the 2nd straight inning that they put their leadoff man on base. They were unable to score in the 7th. 4 times tonight have they now had the leadoff hitter on, scoring in only 1 of those frames.
You know, you see Soto pointing out to Rivera saying, come on, focus here. Don't worry about the runner. A lot of times pitchers inadvertently can't help it. They know that they have a speedy runner at first. Take away the focus at home, all of a sudden now you walk them. Doesn't matter what you're doing at first base, it's first or second.
You got to think this is his last hitter. 3-2 count. We'll see if Granderson's going, because you got to think Romero's going to face McCann.
And there goes Granderson on the ground to third. It keeps Team USA out of the double play. The tying run moves into scoring position with 2 gone, and it's going to come down to McCann. We'll see how Jose Oquendo chooses to counter it for Team Puerto Rico.
I got Ionetta over there, so he's sitting there going, do I want this guy to face McCann, or do I want the lefty to face McCann to see if they make the move to get Ionetta to pinch hit? We'll see. Good jump by Granderson. And you got to send him right there. 3-2, 2 outs. You know DeRosa's going to put the ball 1 out. DeRosa's going to put the ball in play. You can't end that inning with the double play.
That'll be all for Rivera. They want J.C. Romero out of the bullpen. We'll be right back. Great games tomorrow as the World Baseball Classic continues at 7 o'clock Eastern right here on MLB Network. Venezuela takes on the winner between Puerto Rico and the U.S. tonight. And then at 11 Eastern on ESPN2, it's Cuba taking on the loser between Japan and Korea tonight. Meanwhile, back to our contest. There's this little matter of a 1-run game here in the last of the 8th. The U.S. has the tying run at second. J.C. Romero summoned from the Puerto Rico bullpen to face a guy who he has handled during the regular season. Brian McCann is all of 1 for 10 against Romero. And he is charged with trying to pick up Granderson at second base.
Yeah, but there's something with that comfort of having seen a guy before. I'm the hitter here. You're the pitcher, Al. You look at me crazy.
I'm just looking at this roster, how it's decimated, how Ionetta, under normal circumstances, would be in this game, obviously. A lefty on lefty, J.C. Romero. Tough against McCann and others.
And Jose Oquendo knows that. He knows that Davey Johnson doesn't have a lot of cards to play. 0-2. Boy, it's a tough matchup for Brian McCann. And we should point out for fans, guys, that you might be confused. You might see J.C. Romero out there, and baseball fans know that he's not eligible to pitch for the Phillies the first 50 games of the season, having tested positive for banned substances. Those rules do not apply to the World Baseball Classic, and he's good to pitch here in the WBC. And he strikes out Brian McCann. The tying run is left stranded. On to the 9th in Miami. Puerto Rico still on top, 4-3. But fans of Team Puerto Rico know that their squad is 1 inning away from moving on in the World Baseball Classic. Jonathan Broxton will become the 7th American to throw in this one tonight, and they'll try to keep it just a 1-run deficit. 70 appearances last year out of the Dodger bullpen. This is his 4th World Baseball Classic appearance, most recently a scoreless inning Sunday against the Dutch. Alex Rios leads things off for Team Puerto Rico. And a couple of changes defensively. Curtis Granderson, after pinch running, stays in center field, and that moves Shane Victorino to right. Granderson having pinch run for Adam Dunn.
Well, tighten up the defense, obviously, with the 1-run game, having Victorino in right field, covering more ground.
Alex Rios has been a problem tonight. He's driven in 2 of the 4 runs for Puerto Rico. One and 1 from Broxton. Well, you know, getting back to that matchup, Al, and we were up here kind of shaking our heads between innings. That is an awfully tough spot for Team USA to be in, and for Brian McCann in particular. There's no chance that McCann would have been allowed to face Romero had there been any depth on the U.S. roster.
I mean, you could just go right down the line with obviously with Pedroia early on, and Ryan Braun and Chipper. And to have the two catchers, Davy Johnson couldn't be left with the possibility of an extra inning game, having Iannetta go and not having a backup to him.
We mentioned Alex Rios having a great night for Team Puerto Rico. His home run came in the second against starter Ted Lilly. He added an RBI single in the sixth, and that stands as the go-ahead run.
Boy, I think as a starter, Matty, you go back to those two pitches. There was only 2 hits at the beginning of the game until Alex Rios, that base hit up the middle off of Bell. Both instances, power guys trying to come inside, and Lilly didn't get it, and they paid for it.
A fastball that just misses to Rios. Outside corner doesn't count all of a sudden.
Wow, you see McCann right here. This is.
Come on now.
Oof.
I don't want to beg, but strike's a strike.
That's the old Harry Callis. Here's the pitch down the middle, ball 1.
Here's the 3-2 home to Rios, and he loses him on a breaking ball. Leadoff hitters aboard for Puerto Rico. Al, I also want to take a moment to clarify. We had discussed J.C. Romero getting out of that last half inning, and mentioned how he is not eligible to play the first 50 games of the Major League season for the Phillies for a positive test for banned substances, and how those same rules do not apply here. I did not mean to indicate that there is no drug testing at the World Baseball Classic. There very much is. But the positive that Romero had tested for was prior to the WBC. Thus, it applies to the Major League season. Now, if a player tests positive here at the WBC, that also applies to the Major League season.
Yes.
But his test was previous to the World Baseball Classic. I hope I didn't just confuse fans even more. But he is eligible to play in this event, will not be eligible to play come April for 50 days. Moving on. The pitch to Giovanni Soto, a fastball taken knee-high for a strike, and it puts him in an 0-2 hole.
No, that was very clear, Matty.
Thank you. Appreciate you. By the way, those refreshing pauses between sentiments. Harold is on his way down to the field to conduct post-game interviews. So Al and I are in a 2-man band now. Ball and 2 strikes to Soto.
Realizing the importance of this 1-run game, what it means. You go back to certain at-bats. We showed the replay of Alex Rios, the 2-2 fastball, making it 3-2. Broxton comes back with a slider, 3-2, throwing 95. Same instant here with Giovanni Soto. He's ahead. Explosive fastball, slider. Every pitch matters, especially in a 1-run game.
There goes Rios. And Soto shoots it foul. Again, the winner gets Venezuela tomorrow. The winner tonight automatically qualifies for the semifinals. Tomorrow's game will determine seeding and a pool winner. The loser here tonight is done.
So this really is the game for. I mean, it happened for the U.S. They ended up playing the final game, and Venezuela won. But the way Davy Johnson had Ted Lilly go and just basically get his pitchers in order and getting some at bats. Of course, you want to win the pool, but getting in is important.
There goes Rios again. Pitch taken low, throw sails, and Rios has it stolen. And a good night getting even better for the young Toronto Blue Jay, Alex Rios.
Big stolen base, and look, most every time it's off of the pitcher. We talked about it early. Harold did it. Rios got the timing of Jonathan Broxton. Most closers do not have a good move, and they don't really care much about the runner. That's really aggressive type pitchers that are inclined to get hitters out. Jonathan Broxton, closer for the Dodgers.
2 balls and 2 strikes. The count to Giovanni Soto. Ramon Vasquez due up next. Nobody out here in the top of the 9th. And a bouncer to third. Wright keeps the runner in check, and there's 1 gone. You know, fans of Team Puerto Rico were hopeful that this 2009 World Baseball Classic wasn't going to play out identically to their 2006 run when they stormed through the first round of competition and then suffered their first loss in the second game of the second round, each to Venezuela. And in 2006, after losing to Venezuela in the second round, they followed that with a loss to Cuba and were eliminated.
In this double elimination play, that first game, I wouldn't say it's the end all, but I'd like to know the records of the teams that lost the first game that went on to the next round, next pool play. It's a huge game. Put you in the winner's bracket, loser's bracket.
Here's Ramon Vasquez now. Did you, when you played on the 06 team for the U.S. in this event, did you sense that after the first game of each pool?
Well, you know, the way it played out, we lost to Canada, came back, beat Japan, and I know the last game Roger Clemens pitched a great game. We lost 2-1 to Mexico. Had we won the game, we would have moved on. Obviously, we didn't. Similar to this. This is the same situation.
Vasquez tried to hold up and he went around on the appeal down to third. It's 0-1.
You know, Matt, I think that this whole I think it's exciting. It can only grow, and it has grown, this WBC. Yeah, there's going to be some things to work out as to when is the most ideal time. Good power slider couldn't hold up. Vasquez couldn't. But it would be worked out. And I think, you know, especially for Team USA to really get the nuances of international play, it's different.
Out on the outside corner to make it 0-2. Well, you know, the common complaint I think that seems to be resonating is that teams don't feel like they're staying sharp in between games. And I think that's fixable with enough spring training camps here in Phoenix, of course, the Phoenix Valley area. It seems to be, you could schedule some games, you know, where guys can see live pitching. Pitchers can be on the mound. It's just games where players can get work, because after all, there's this little matter of opening day coming up in a couple of weeks.
Well, in the case for the U.S., they had 2 off days because they were in the winner's bracket in the pool in Toronto. And then coming down here, they had 2 off days leading into their series. And at this time of the year, you get 2 days off. It feels like 2 weeks.
1-2 to Vasquez is bounced up the middle. Jeter knocks it down. Scoring is Rios, and it's a 5-3 game. It was just enough to get past Jeter up the middle.
Huge run. Make a 2-run. Vasquez stays on this slider, stays away. Derek hoping that he could knock it down, at least keep it in his glove to keep Rios from not scoring. Not being able to do it. You see Rios hesitating and then gets the go-ahead. Big run for Puerto Rico. They know it. There's a wiggle room for their closer. 2 runs.
And we'll have another pinch hitter here is Jesus Feliciano, who played left field and led off Saturday against the U.S. Feliciano will swing it with a run in, 1 out, and a man on. And there goes Vasquez. Feliciano sends a fly ball into left. And DeRosa makes a play. That's 2 out here in the 9th. Well, if you're wondering, when we go to the bottom of the 9th inning with the U.S. down by at least 2, they will have the number 9, then top of the order hitters, Victorino, Roberts, and Jeter. Two gone now for Felipe Lopez.
Closer Fernando Cabrera, nobody's warming up. It looks as though they're going to let JC Romero We have switch.
We got switch right.
So maybe for Jeter, depending upon. Well, now with the 2-run lead, it's much different.
An interesting scenario for Philly fans with J.C. Romero perhaps opening the bottom of the ninth against his Philly teammate Shane Victorino. Felipe Lopez with a 1-0 count and a man at first. This would be a bitter pill to swallow for either team that loses here tonight. For the U.S., their stated mission goal was to kind of get that bad taste out of their mouths from the 6th place finish in 2006. For Puerto Rico, should the U.S. come back and win this tonight, their complaint will be a valid one in that teams had different roads to get to that semifinal. You know, the U.S. team lost to Puerto Rico. They were mercy ruled, and then they beat the Dutch to get here. Puerto Rico beat up on the U.S. and then lost to Venezuela, who we would all admit is a better team than the team from the Kingdom of the Netherlands. It's almost as unbalanced as an NFL schedule. But in a tournament format event, that's what you got to do, right?
And it's either this or go back to the previous round, or in 06, where they had everybody play each other once, and then there was a complicated tying rules.
Yeah.
And the amount of runs scored against, and
yeah, and you get into a lot of games.
So you either play everybody equally, and then at the end figure out the record, and then it comes down to scoring and runs.
Vasquez is running again. Lopez fouls it away. So I take it from that you think that this current format is better than it was in 06.
I like it better, but look what happened with Team USA. They beat Venezuela, and then they go into the final game. Venezuela beats them, and they win the pool. So in that same instant, as you described with Puerto Rico, potentially, if this game doesn't turn out this way, they have a legitimate gripe after mercy rule in the U.S.
They lead here, however, 5-3 with the insurance strike coming in the ninth against Broxton. It's a full count to Felipe Lopez. Vasquez goes again. It's lined into left.
That's a pesky hitters that identify a power arm guy. Vasquez didn't try to do anything but stay on this ball, go the other way. That's just nice hitting. He tried to pull off and drive the ball. He hit a little ground to the right side. Nice hitting. Marcel Latchman on the phone.
And we see some stirring down in that Team USA dugout. It is Howell, the left-hander, in the bullpen up to throw. Mike Aviles, the batter. Runners at first and second. Still nobody up in the Puerto Rico bullpen. We are led to believe that it'll be J.C. Romero to at least open the last of the ninth.
Yeah, unless Fernando Cabrera got enough, he'd be up. He'd be up right now. J.C. Romero will start the ninth.
Sliders missing the corner to Aviles have put Broxton behind 2-0.
It's a right pitch. The first pitch, Broxton. As a pitcher, you try to identify a swing path, see what hitters are doing, how they react. First pitch, you see Aviles' front side. He's stepping out, open his front side, clearly looking for the ball inside. Broxton missed with the first slider, come back with another one, missed again. Watch his front left hip.
Ooh, came inside with a fastball there, rip and a miss.
That just beat him.
94 from Broxton.
Watch his steps. I mean, he's looking to just turn and burn. He's a leadoff hitter. He wants to hit it out of this stadium.
2 balls and a strike. Vasquez and Lopez aboard with a run in and 2 gone here in the ninth. Yeah, Broxton went back in there again.
He's just off right now. He's commanded.
Well, he's approaching 30 pitches in not even a complete inning yet.
It's a lot, especially for a closer. Take the pitch count on average, 15 to 20 is about what it made, a good inning, decent inning. Anything above that, start getting weary.
So a full count now, 3-2. Again, when it goes to the last of the ninth, it'll be Victorino, Roberts, and Jeter. And precious few options in terms of matchups for Davey Johnson. That put the U.S. in the predicament in the last of the eighth when Brian McCann had to face J.C. Romero. J.J. Putz is among those that have pitched tonight for Team USA. Kevin Youkilis has done his part, a home run in the third. The 3-2 from Broxton. Out to right field and playable for Victorino. Victorino makes the catch, and Victorino will lead off the last of the ninth with Team USA down 5-3. Finals of the 2009 World Baseball Classic. Yadier Molina will catch this last of the ninth. And a new left fielder as well, as Feliciano takes over out there after pinch hitting in the top of the inning. The U.S. has Victorino, Roberts, and Jeter. As Al and I mentioned, J.C. Romero continues on the mound for Team Puerto Rico. Shane Victorino has had a nice night, 2 for 3 with an RBI. And his Philly teammate pours a strike to make it 1-1. Brian Roberts after a 3 for 3 performance Sunday against the Dutch hitless tonight, and Victorino's on base. Shane Victorino 3 for 4, and he has a laugh at the expense of his teammate J.C. Romero.
All started with a nice little single to right field. That ball was a changeup up in the zone. Victorino looking over at J.C. Romero. Good hitting. This is the approach right here for this Team USA. You have situational guys with speed that can get on base. Keep the line moving. Singles, right center approach, up the middle.
Brian Roberts 0 for 4 tonight. And he takes a strike up the corner. It may actually come down to J.C. Romero facing another one of his teammates with the game on the line. Jimmy Rollins is in the hold in this situation. There is the closer. Fernando Cabrera just got up. 0-2 the count of Brian Roberts.
There's one thing that J.C. Romero doesn't lack, and it's emotion. This guy is a fiery guy and super intense. Here he is attacking the zone against Brian Roberts.
What the Ken Herbeck is going on over there? Little wrestling match with Delgado and Victorino. This is all Mets Phillies love, Al. The 0-2 to Roberts.
Protect mode. Brian Roberts short porch to the left. J.C. Romero, late inning guy, is aware of that, staying away. This is where, as Brian Roberts, you just fight off anything inside and look away. It's coming in. Boy, what a difference that 1 run.
5 runs on 5 hits for Team Puerto Rico. All 5 of the hits for Team Puerto Rico have driven in runs. A ball and 2 strikes to Roberts.
You can always tell a pitcher when he's thrown in a zone that he really doesn't want to get you out with it. That last pitch to Roberts way inside. Just to show him that he could come inside, stand him up.
Molina sets up on the corner, and they miss out there. A check swing by Roberts. It's 2-2. Prior to Saturday's loss to Team Puerto Rico, Team USA had never lost in international competition to this team since professional players entered the international ranks in 1999. Granted, there had been just a handful of matchups, but that win for Team Puerto Rico Saturday represented a huge victory for their national program.
And we touched on it earlier in the game, just how much baseball means in the Latin American countries, but the fact that a very proud baseball-rich country didn't have a winter league a year ago. It's unheard of, really.
Into center field. The tying run is on base with nobody out in the ninth. A pair of fantastic approaches by a couple of switch-hitting big league all-stars, Shane Victorino and Brian Roberts.
Well, you said it, Matt. This was a great approach to hold it bat. The ball stayed away, stood him up inside, didn't try to do a whole lot, just as Victorino did, and he went the other way. Nice piece of hitting by Brian Roberts.
Victorino at second. The tying run is Roberts. He's at first. Nobody out for Derek Jeter.
For the captain of Team USA. Crowd getting into it.
And Romero moves him off the corner. A ball and no strikes. Jeter tonight is 1 for 3 with a base on balls. He is 1 for 9 here in Miami in Pool 2. Boy, that is right on the corner. Paint.
Perfect pitch. Corner down the way. Derek probably was hoping he'd call it a ball.
Jeter last year, as has been the case throughout his career, amazingly consistent versus right and left-handed pitchers. He has seen very little of J.C. Romero in the big leagues, just 0 for 2 against his adversary tonight. Even the Met fans are rooting for Derek Jeter tonight, Al. So 2 balls and a strike.
See, now so far, Matt, J.C. Romero has shown out of command enough, but his comfort zone, every pitcher has a comfort zone, has been on the outside part of the plate. Jeter and all the Team USA hitters see this. I don't know if he's going to be around long enough. Same approach, middle, outer half. Derek Jeter just his whole career patented right center swing. Ideal for a location of a pitch on the outside part of the plate.
Into right field. Rios has it. Tagging up is Victorino. He'll get into third. Runners at the corners with 1 gone. Well, Derek Jeter hit it right at Rios. He hit it hard right on the screws, but a makeable play, and that's the first out for Romero. So now it's Jimmy Rollins.
Looks like he's keeping him in there, Matt. Fernando Cabrera is the closer for Team Puerto Rico. He's been warming up a couple innings now.
Well, Cabrera has pitched in each of the first 2 games here in the Miami portion of the bracket. He went a third of an inning last night against Venezuela. I'll take that back. He pitched against Venezuela, and that's it here in Miami. He pitched in 2 games in San Juan. Rollins versus Romero, another matchup of Philly teammates. The first one worked out pretty well for Team USA when Victorino singled against Romero to lead off the inning.
Jimmy's good for a long sac fly somewhere. He usually likes to jump on the first pitch. If he gets a fastball up in the zone high enough where he can elevate and get a deep fly ball, I got to believe he'll be hacking.
Rollins homered Sunday against the Dutch. And Romero misses inside to Jimmy Rollins. These two have faced one another once as opponents. Rollins 0 for 1 against his current Philly teammate. A ball and a strike.
Good tilt on this slider from Romero. Looks like a fastball. That's the effectiveness of a good hard slider, especially when thrown without the little dot. Looks like a fastball and just drops out. Nice pitch. Romero doesn't have a very good move, but now look, when a left-handed pitcher is aware of base runners, and obviously Brian Roberts, he wants to keep him at first. Could be the tie and run. Just throwing over enough disrupts a good base runner.
There goes Roberts. Throw down by Molina is not in time, and the tying run's in scoring position with one gone in the ninth. And awfully close play at second.
Good throw by Soto. Romero was quick. It was a good pitch. High fastball. Oh, I said Soto. Molina, Yadier Molina behind the plate. Snap throw.
Well, what a great shot. Some terrific pictures tonight. And the left hand of Brian Roberts just beats the tag of Felipe Lopez. Team USA has stolen 3 bags tonight. A base hit ties this thing here in the ninth. The 2-1 to Rollins. To Harold's point earlier, Al, not unlike most switch hitters, Jimmy Rollins hits for a little higher average from the right side, more power left-handed.
I always saw him as a guy that would spin, especially if you missed in on the right side. But yeah, I mean, generally speaking, a switch hitter sees more right-handed pitchers, so that's a true statement.
And a good block by Molina to make it 3-2 now. Kevin Youkilis waiting on deck for Team USA. He's homered tonight. Boy, the Americans have really just failed to cash in on opportunity tonight. Just 2 for 11 so far with runners in scoring position. They have had their chances.
Well, Romero kept going to the well here with his power breaking ball. I got to believe he's going to go to the pitch that he thinks he can get Rollins out.
The 3-2 fouled away.
And anytime a hitter, now this is 4-5 sliders in a row, Rollins fouls it off. There's a feeling from the pitchers that, you know, can I make that perfect pitch? Can I make it better than the last one? It's where a lot of times you'll see a pitcher make a mistake because of it. He knows it's the right pitch, but to continue to repeat it is the hard thing. It's a total whole cat and mouse game right here. Yadier Molina going out, making sure that they're on the same page. JC Romero.
And all the while, Fernando Cabrera, Team Puerto Rico's closer, is ready when needed.
Pitched 3 innings down.
The 3-2 once again, and Rollins stays alive, continuing to battle. Such great plate appearances this inning. First, Victorino working a deep count and singling to right. Roberts doing the same thing, and Jeter with a rocket to right field that Rios was able to handle.
And now here an 8 pitch at bat coming up. Great at bat.
Ball 4. And it sounds a little bit like Fenway Park here in South Florida. The chance of uke for Kevin Youkilis, who will not face J.C. Romero, but instead closer Fernando Cabrera, as Jose Oquendo is out to the mound, lineup card in hand, and he wants to make the move. Team USA down by 2 in the last of the 9th with 1 gone and the bases loaded. A pitching change. We want to remind you to stay with us because Japan and Korea is coming up next on MLB Network, but there is quite a bit yet to be determined here tonight. Bases are loaded with 1 gone for Kevin Youkilis.
Fernando Cabrera, see his numbers with the Orioles. His best years really, but with the Indians, he's been around not a whole lot, but enough to have been the top prospect with the Indians. He's a lot of arms and legs. He's gangly out there. When you get the ball, rush it up there, 92, 94 miles an hour. Good slider. Occasional split.
Well, the 27-year-old right-hander who has been a part of a couple of different major league organizations, as Al mentions, drafted by the Indians out of high school. He's pitched in the big leagues with the Orioles and Indians. And dare I say, this is one of the bigger moments he's been called on in his career. Kevin Youkilis has had a terrific WBC. After an 0 for 3 against Team Puerto Rico on Saturday, 1 for 4 with that dinger tonight. And the first pitch to Youkilis misses low. Youkilis has had a handful of plate appearances against Fernando Cabrera, 1 for 3 in said opportunities. Swing and a miss. Challenged him with a fastball.
He was trying to go downtown Bobby Brown right there. Little slider, gotten a good count. Fastball right down the middle. Healthy cut from Kevin Youkilis.
The 1-1. 2 balls and a strike to Youkilis, with David Wright waiting on deck. The inning started when Shane Victorino singled against J.C. Romero. Roberts singled. Derek Jeter lined to right. Roberts stole the base. Rollins walked, and then the move to Cabrera, who has fallen behind Kevin Youkilis. 3 balls and a strike.
He's got to find that right down the middle. If not, take it. The whole pressure and onus is on the pitcher.
Each team has used 7 pitchers tonight. The 3-1 to Youkilis. Ball 4. He walked in a run. 5-4 Puerto Rico. In an elimination scenario from Dolphin Stadium in Miami, we are in the last of the 9th. Team USA has loaded the bases. They've scored 1. They're just 1 down of Puerto Rico, who about 15 minutes ago was 3 outs away from moving on in the WBC. Alongside Harold Reynolds and Al Leiter, Matt Vasgersian, the winner moves on to the semifinals. The loser goes home. The highest of stakes tonight in South Florida.
Well, you mentioned about Cabrera, this being one of his biggest games. I got to believe, just hearing Felix Hernandez from Venezuela saying it was the biggest in his career, his start the other day against Puerto Rico. Yadier Molina mentioned about it was bigger than a hit that he had while with the Cardinals against the Mets in the NLCS. This is a huge moment.
David Wright is 2 for 3 with a base on balls, a run scored, and a stolen base. And Fernando Cabrera has picked a pretty bad time to struggle with command.
Starting off right the same way he did Youkilis with a slider off the plate.
And the 1-0 misses down and in. 2 balls and no strikes. That's where Molina wanted it. Thereabouts. Roberts at third represents the tying run. Rollins the winning run at second. A strike to make it 2-1. And David Wright was not going to swing the bat.
Don't mind it at all, Matt. This ball looks a little above the belt, right at the mask. Good pitch. Maybe David Wright didn't think so, but he's now seen a couple fastballs. He sees the release point. Timing him.
The 2-1. And Wright lines it into the right field corner. The U.S. wins it. David Wright with a walk-off knock. And Team USA moves on to the semis. Santa Maria.
And they're, oh boy, the excitement, emotion, there it is right there.
Five-3 in the ninth, and Team USA rallies to win in Miami. 3 outs away from tournament elimination.
What a game. What an inning. What at bats there. Right down to every bat. That last bat, David Wright going the other way, starting off with Shane Victorino.
This is the game winner. David Wright goes down and gets a pitch and lines it into the right field corner. No question this was going to score both runs as Roberts and Rollins come around to score and win it for the U.S.
Big hit, comes down to strikes, excitement. Jimmy Rollins scoring. They know they're going on to the next pool. Semi-final, final round.
Boy, and for Team Puerto Rico, so close to knocking off the U.S. and moving on in the event. Despite the mercy rule whipping that Team Puerto Rico put on the U.S. on Saturday, Team USA comes back tonight down 5-3 in the last of the ninth. And they defeat Puerto Rico to move on to the semis. Davey Johnson with a depleted roster, virtually no options to manage the game with his lineup. And the Americans find a way to win in the ninth.